Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the YouTube set review. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, go down, hit subscribe, leave us a little comment. That helps us out. It also helps us out to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/commandersbrew. That is how we are able to still make this show. We literally wouldn't be able to do it without the help from our patrons. So get over there, get in our Discord, start chatting, help us out that way. But without further ado, let's start talking about Throne of Eldraine.
Okay, we're going to start with the new legendaries. That's a great place to start, as Commander players were interested in that. But I lied. We're actually just going to highlight some of the new mechanics that come in before that, before we do that. Not a ton of new mechanics. It's always interesting to look at a new mechanic from a Commander perspective to see if we want to add that to other decks or if we can build a whole deck around it. The main big one here is Adventure. A lot of creature cards have the Adventure mechanic, which means they have a tiny little card in the bottom left corner with a casting cost that's always an instant or a sorcery. And the idea is you cast that first, put the card in exile, and your creature is on an adventure. And then later you're allowed to cast that creature from exile if it's on its adventure. It's kind of becomes a modal card. I can't think of a commander that would want to necessarily brew around that mechanic, but if I've got an adventure card that has two good modes, that's just extra value, that's just modal. So a lot of commander decks like extra value on cards. For example, we got a
Kess is a commander that is able to cast these from the graveyard. Sorceries,
as
adventures.
instants and sorceries. Well, but they're not in the graveyard, they're in exile.
No, they you exile it, becomes a creature, but when the creature's in the graveyard, you can cast it from.
Oh, you can cast it again, and then it goes back in exile.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. That's amazing. One example that Kess cannot use is Beanstalk Giant. So Beanstalk Giant is a 7-mana star power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control, but you can send the Beanstalk Giant on its adventure by paying 2 green for Fertile Footsteps, where you tutor up a basic, put it into play tapped. So that's a pretty good effect. We like having those. And if you like the idea of having access to a 7-mana star later, maybe in a token brew, something like that, this seems like a pretty neat include.
It would be good in a land deck, certainly, right? Anything that's waiting for landfall. Specifically Beanstalk Giant. I know it's just our example here, but this is a decent commander card, right? I think...
I tried to pick one that is pretty interesting. Like, if you care about both modes, I think you got to put it in. If you only care about the front mode, I mean, that's not the worst.
Right? 3-mana Rampant Growth, it's not terrible.
If you just need a jam full of that stuff, it's interesting to think about.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's going to be a classic thing like that, where it's a weird version of Kicker / it's a weird version of Aftermath. It's all kinds of. It's all It's very reminiscent of some other things we've seen in Magic, and I think much like those, modal spells are always good in Commander. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah. And there's one other new thing at play. Do you want to tell us about those?
Yes, we got food tokens. Food tokens, we don't have it in the tabs here, but...
It's an artifact token of different creatures and different abilities.
What's one that makes it? Golden Goose? That's one
I think that lays an egg.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the egg is food. Bacon to a pie is a food token too. That's a fun one.
Gilded Goose, not Golden Goose. So Gilded Goose is a green creature that makes a food token. And what a food token is it's an artifact that you can sacrifice for 3 mana or 2 mana?
3.
2. No, it's 2. It's an artifact. Yeah, create a food token. 2. Generic, tap, sacrifice this artifact, you gain 3 life. That's why it's confusing.
I've got the 3 in my head from the 3 life.
Me too.
We're all learning.
But, there's lots of stuff in the set that uses food tokens, that activates from food tokens, sacrifice 3 food tokens, bring it back from the graveyard, so on and so forth.
So this is
I think we're gonna see this come up just because, it's kind of like clue tokens.
Sure.
I'm pretty, from what I've seen, it seems to be a similar mechanic, whereas a lot of stuff interacts with it within this. But outside of that, in Commander, artifact type brews are going to be caring about artifact tokens and things like that. And obviously life gain can be relevant.
Yeah, we're gonna nothing like any of these mechanics. Nothing makes foods outside of Eldraine. So you're not going to likely build around it entirely, but if you like the artifact tokens, if you like the life, I do, and we will keep an eye out for those cards that make and use food tokens all by themselves, where like they handle it all themselves. They don't need that backup support. But I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Really starting to wish there was, I want a commander now that somehow encompasses all of those little artifact tokens, treasures, foods, clues. Like, I want something for that. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find. You can definitely. I mean, like, obviously, any of this, like, Saheeli cares about the number of artifacts, but it'd be interesting to, like, I agree. It'd be fun to see one that cares about specifically, like, do this with food tokens, do this with clue tokens, and do this with treasures. Like, that would be fun.
Or what about a commander that lets you treat any of them as any of them?
Yeah. Ooh.
Like treasures can be foods, clues can be treasures can be
That's interesting.
clues, whatever you want to do.
That's a cool idea. Yeah. Wizards, listen up. Wizards, please.
Okay,
so I guess we're going to start it up, right? Talking
about the new commanders. Color by color.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start with the we're talking about the So a big question before we get into the legendaries is what's going to happen with these brawl commanders?
Oh, I mean, we're going to talk about them
in the packs.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't know for sure, but I don't think they are.
Okay, that sucks if that's true. But we will talk about them. But I just wanted to get that out of the way, just because it was a question that I had and I wasn't sure about it.
Yeah. Good question. Don't know the answer.
Let's talk about the mono-white legendaries first here. Let's start off with Linden, the Steadfast Queen. White for a legendary human noble. Noble is a new creature type that you will see in Throne of Eldraine. And she is a 3/3 with vigilance that says whenever a white creature you control attacks, you gain 1 life. This is an ability of the... we haven't seen this specific ability on a commander yet, so that's kind of interesting. That being said, I do think this is going to be, more well suited in the 99 of stuff like Karlov and some other life gain type strategies. But it's not the worst mono white like token commander.
Yeah, if I was a mono white life gain kind of thing, this is a fine commander if you got a lot of tokens. But yeah, I think better suited than 99. I agree with you.
Yeah.
We've also got Sir Alan the Lion's Claw. 3 white for a legendary human knight, 4/4 with first strike. This is an uncommon. Whenever Sir Alan the Lion's Claw attacks other creatures you control, get +1/+1 until end of turn. There's another mono white commander that favors tokens that want to attack a lot. But still, I think better suited in the 99. Monocolor commanders are tough to brew on. They have to have a fairly unique ability to want to brew around them at the head of the deck.
Yeah, and the power level here isn't super impressive. Obviously, it's an uncommon, so yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, right? Uncommon legendaries are back, much
that's
like
great.
Dominaria. I love it too. I love it. Why not? You know what? Give us more legendaries always. Next, in blue, we're starting off here, is Sir Eleonora, the Discerning. 3 blue for the star 4 human knight legendary. Sir Eleonora, the Discerning's power is equal to the number of cards in your hand. This is also an uncommon, by the way. Power is equal to cards in your hand. When Sir Eleonora enters the battlefield, draw a card, and spells your opponent's cast that target Sir Eleonora costs 2 more to cast. So kind of that Frost Titan effect. Enters, it's a draw a card, and then star 4. Okay, interesting.
That sword is icy. That's why there's the Frost Titan ability.
Yeah. Mono blue, like Voltron is a possibility thing here based on card draw. Like, I actually think Sir Eleonora is a kind of a good commander.
Yeah, it would be fun to put a bunch of all the card draw equipment, like if it's block draw card, if it's not block draw card, that kind of stuff. And, being harder to target is pretty decent on a commander.
Yep.
It's next best thing behind Hexproof.
Yep, definitely.
Cool. We've got Gadwick the Wizened. This is a legendary human wizard. It costs blue X. It's an X commander. 3/3 to start. When Gadwick enters, draw X cards. Whenever you cast a blue spell, tap target non-land permanent an opponent controls. So you can tap things down when you cast blue spells. This is a commander that has draw built in is pretty excellent. That's a useful way. So I'm assuming you're going to want to brew around a lot of like cantrippy type of things to get the maximum use of your spells. I'd want to take advantage of tapping down my opponent's creatures to get through an assault with a bunch of creatures. I don't know how to brew this one. It's kind of asking us to go in a few different directions, but I'm interested to think about it.
It's pretty cool that it's an X spell. Like that's pretty unique. There are a few like that, but this is pretty unique. Yeah, like the tapping thing seems like sure, like every spell in my deck is going to tap something. That's pretty good, especially if you're living at instant speed like blue often likes to do. So Gadwick the Wizened, it's funny because it looks like it would say wizened, but I think you're right. I think it is wizened because it's a Z and it's like wizard. Anyways, but I love it. I like Gadwick. I think there's an interesting brew there. I do too. I think you can do some stuff with Gadwick. Also, not bad in the 99 of some other, wanting to draw card decks.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's move to let's do our last blue legendary. This one's catching a little bit of heat. People are excited about this one in some other formats. Emery, Lurker of the Loch. 2 and a blue for a 1/2 legendary merfolk wizard. Emery costs 1 generic less to cast for each artifact you control, which is pretty wild considering it's only a 3 mana creature. It's a 2 and a blue. So it's not easy. It's not hard, rather, to have Emery cost just 1. And obviously this is incredibly good for Commander because that kind of eliminates your Commander tax because it's not hard, again, with food, with clues, with treasures to have a bunch of artifacts, especially mono blue. Anyways, when Emery enters the battlefield, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. And Emery has tap. Choose target artifact in your graveyard. You may cast that card this turn. So there's a lot of stuff like this card is like a combo card for sure. So in the 99 of some artifact stuff, like Jeskai Ascendancy goes infinite with this. Like something you can cast from your graveyard for free and stuff like that. There's
zero manas,
Yeah, and there's a lot of 0 mana artifacts, even if they're not even that good. But anyways, so there's a lot of stuff you can do with Emery. Emery is like this combo unlocker. I'm sure there's something with tapping and untapping. Anyways, but as your commander, you're stuck to mono blue. So maybe that is going to be a little harder to pull off, but I still expect to see some pretty busted stuff with Emery. It's one of those things where like, these abilities don't look like super impressive. They don't look like super powerful, but I think when you get the right cards together with Emery, you're going to be able to close out a game pretty quickly.
Yeah, having access to your graveyard, that's great. It's like extra hands. So and then a commander you can't stop it by killing it enough because you're always going to be able to get around that tax. Seems good.
Yeah, I think she's going to be good.
We've got some black commanders. This is Sir Conrad the Grim, 3 black for a legendary human knight, 5/4. Whenever another creature dies or a creature is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. And 1 in a black, each player puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. So we play multiplayer in Commander. So if you have a spell that's like, whenever card goes into graveyard from anywhere, in battlefield or otherwise, so if one of those cards is like, hey, everybody mill 10, it's like, well, you're probably going to do out of 30 cards, well, it's yours too. So if everybody mills 10, for example, I'm going to think like a mind grind. You mind grind for 6 or something like that, right? And so everyone goes until they hit 6 lands. You're probably getting like a handful of creatures from each player. So 3 from you, 3 from me, 3 from you, 3 from you. That's everybody's taking 12. Boom. It's like kind of like reverse Grey Merchant.
If everyone mills 3 creatures, that's 3, 6, 9, right?
And everyone but me too. Like with stuff I milled counts too.
Right, and that's not even counting yourself. Yeah, right, because it's each player. So
there's all those. Yeah. Oh man, I'm excited.
Yeah, Sir Conrad is good.
Or dies. Let's not forget that too, right? Like I'm glossing over that part because we've seen those kind of aristocratic type of effects a million times. But like this is another level. Yeah, leaves your graveyard, exactly, right? Like if you exile your graveyard, like, okay, my graveyard's full, Bajuka bog myself. Okay, now you've like 24 creatures have left your own graveyard.
it's like, yeah, you could Bojuka Box someone, get 5 creatures, and that's 5 damage to all your opponents.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even do anything yet.
No.
You just played a land that turn.
Yeah, the leaving is stipulated with your graveyard. They have to leave your
it's
graveyard
yours.
for
Okay,
that
so you
part.
whatever.
Yeah.
You do it to yourself. Who cares? That's wild, though. Yeah, Sir Conrad, I think, has some pretty nice upside here. And that's even without activating his own ability. Like, you can just get that from other sources.
Unfortunately, you can't run blue if Conrad's your commander.
Exactly. So, but I do. I mean, I think there's some. You can still mill in mono black pretty effectively.
It's true.
So,
Yeah, there's a couple mono black, like, sort of half wheels.
yeah, I think he's going to be a pretty decent commander, as well as a great 99 card for.
You're not going to want to see Sir Conrad buddying up with Nekusar. No, sir.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. We're liking Sir Conrad quite a bit.
We're liking
Next, in black, we have Rankle, Master of Pranks. 2 black for the mythic legendary fairy rogue. It's a 3/3. Rankle has flying and haste, which is pretty sweet. Whenever Rankle deals combat damage to a player, choose any number. You can A, each player discards a card. B, each player loses a life and draws a card. Or C, each player sacrifices a creature. This is anytime you deal combat damage to a player, you can choose any number of those things.
all of them.
Yeah, you can choose all of them. And it is each player, so it is across the board. It is to you. You as well will also need to sacrifice a creature. You as well will also need to discard a card and so on, right?
Yeah.
But I think this is very cool. Very neat design here on Rankle. I guess this is their version of Rumpelstiltskin, seems like.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Man, and it happens in that order, right? Whenever they put these things on cards, you have to do them in the order they print them.
Right.
So they will discard a card, then draw a card. Unfortunately, you can't have it go in the reverse. So if you do this to empty-handed opponents, they will end up with 1 card. But, I mean, if you're doing this on empty-handed opponents, I think you've already done a bunch with Rankle.
Yeah, like how crazy is it that Rankle comes down for 4 mana, attacks, probably gets to hit something because he has flying and haste. Like, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
And then just does like 2 of Liliana of the Veil's things. Like one of the most powerful planeswalkers of all time.
And you're going to run this in decks that probably run those little 1 or 2 mana creatures that come back from the graveyard easily, like your little skeletons and your little blood-soaked creatures. So like, you can probably mitigate your disadvantage from this and really, wow, this is going to be a brutal commander.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of formats this is probably going to be good in, but Commander is still, I like it. Like it's almost like a Braids-ish thing. Obviously not as brutal. It's kind of
Braidsy,
right? But it's a little Braidsy because everyone's sacking a creature, everyone's discarding a card, like, and you're going to have it set up that your deck has no problem with those things. So
yeah,
very cool. Rankle seems powerful to me as a commander, and I think you want him as a commander just because, like, you want access to this ability. This is going to be very good.
For sure. One more legendary in mono black, and that's Ayara, First of Lochthwain. Black for an elf noble, 2/3. Whenever Ayara or another black creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life, and you can sacrifice another black creature to draw a card. Okay.
Yep. This is a pretty solid utility creature, kind of.
Black, so I'm going to want to make a lot of black tokens. Fortunately, zombies are possible for that. You can make a lot of zombies in short order with many different black cards. So each player losing a life and you gaining 1 life just when those tokens enter is fantastic. I'm happy to sack those. She seems like a zombie commander to me, despite not being a zombie herself.
What about, what's his name? The guy who makes the black thralls.
Ooh, Endrixar. Yeah,
like,
for
this
sure.
This is an auto-include in Endrixar / Endrixar is an auto-include in Ayara, right?
I mean, I'm always inclined to put the older card as the lieutenant to the newer card. Like, I want Ayara up front.
Yeah, either way, you want both of these legendaries acting in tandem for sure.
Oh, wow.
They seem like, they seem match made in heaven there. But yeah, I like this card a bunch. This is cool. 3 black, heavy casting cost if she's not your commander, obviously, and you're not in mono black. But but I like it. I think it's a good
I
card.
like it a lot.
Yeah, very cool.
Move on to some red ones.
Yeah, let's do red. First in red here is Surkara, the Bold. 3 red for an uncommon legendary human knight 3/3. When Surkara the Bold or an instant or sorcery spell you control deals damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You can play that card this turn, and then you can tap, and Surkara deals 1 damage to any target. So she's a pinger, and she does that thing, that red card draw thing, if you deal damage to a player. So tap, like basically draw a card, kind of.
Yeah, it's like a mini Niv Mizzet ability or something.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah,
an impression of it. Okay,
kind of cool. Like this impulsy, we all are aware of like that impulse red ability.
I'm so grateful they didn't say whenever a red instant or sorcery deals damage. It's restrictive enough to force us to deal damage with instant sorceries. Let it be any color. Thank you, Wizards.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Wizards, like...
I mean, if you're pairing this with blue or black or something, you don't even.
I know all the Chandras care about red instants and sorceries, which is fair, I suppose, from a flavor point of view. But it's fine. But I think this is. It's hard because I don't run a lot of. We just aren't in the habit of running instants or sorceries that deal damage. I mean, there really aren't many that aren't at least red or partly red. So.
Yeah. Right? Like there's very few in other colors anyways. Seems like black is the only one who tends to have that ability.
I think it's a fair addition to any pinger deck. I think as a commander, it's nice to be able to point 1 damage anywhere you want. That's pretty useful. And mono red having some card advantage built into your commander is what mono red needs. So I think that this should be an interesting brew. I'd like to see the deck that comes after Surkara is at the helm.
Yeah, it seems like as far as a mono red uncommon legendary goes, as commanders go, this isn't bad. You can do a lot worse than this. I think the white one is. I think the white one that pumps creatures is way worse than this.
I agree.
Not to rag on Sir Alan, but anyways.
Sorry, Sir Alan.
What's next here?
Oh, we got Torbran. Torbran, Thane of Redfell, 1 red for a legendary dwarf noble, 2/4. If a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2 instead. Well, this is pretty neat. Someone in our Discord was saying we invented this card a long time ago.
We did?
We were saying, I wish there was a creature that did this ability. I'm going to assume it came from talking about that saga where the 3rd chapter of the saga makes all your red stuff deal 2 extra damage. But I'm assuming the logic was, well, that's such a short window. Give me that on legs so it can be dealt with, but I can have that as long as I want.
I think I'm actually kind of remembering this now. I think I remember us talking about it because we just talked about how burn isn't enough, right?
Right.
Lightning Bolt is obviously a great card, but in Commander, everything's bigger than that. So even just adding on extra damage to it is helpful. And yeah, maybe I kind of remember that now.
Clearly all your red sources doing an extra 2. Any Purphoros deck, this is a bit of a win more. If you're going wide with goblins, now they strike for 3 each. Goblin Bombardment does 3 per activation. Torbran, I don't know if Torbran is just a little bit win more in those decks. It makes your combo a bit more efficient. But I like the idea of just turning things sideways that just hit significantly harder than before.
I like him a lot as a 99 just because, but not really as a combo thing, because combo is enough, right? You go infinite or you go enough with a combo and it's going to kill no matter if you're dealing 1 per, it doesn't matter. Like you said. I agree. That is a bit more, but Torbran just in a one of those types of decks that just wants to deal direct damage to face, which I like those types of decks. They're hard to pull off in Commander. They're kind of like Infect decks, right? It's you need to go all in on one person, and while you're doing that, the other people are going to realize, oh, I'm just going to kill this guy. So Torbran makes it a little more possible to do that. To run that style of deck, and I imagine that's what we were talking about when we were mentioning this ability that we wanted on Commander.
Way to go, Gimli.
Way to go, Gimli. Back again. Yeah, now everyone has a Gimli for that. We got to go back and do our Lord of the Rings deck again.
I know, so many
Gimli
new dwarves.
Yeah. Let's take a look at green. Green has a very cool legendary here in Questing Beast. Interesting that he doesn't have a name, but he's a legendary beast.
This legendary beast, no one named this beast. Maybe this beast doesn't know any humans.
Also, what is the fairy tale / nursery rhyme reference here? It's not
the three-headed cat lizard.
Is that what he is? He's
It looks like the heads are cats. Yeah, 3 heads. The heads are cats. The lizard body and tail.
Oh yeah, weird. Why isn't this a Hydra if it's got more than
I
one
don't
head?
know. Like, I mean, we're gonna talk about it, but Wizards is taking a real loose stance on creature types for this set.
Well, anyways, Questing Beast is 2 green for a legendary beast, mythic, 4/4, vigilance, death touch, haste.
Yikes.
Pretty good. Questing Beast can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. No
Okay.
trump blocks. Combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. So forget about fog. Forget about it. Forget about protection too. That's another huge thing that comes up in this set. As far as blocking goes, anyways. Whenever Questing Beast deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls. So like this is definitely made for standard.
Yeah.
Kill your planeswalker, forget about those protection cards.
Yeah.
And I guess, I don't know, no more chump blocking. But this is a pushed creature. This is a 4-mana 4/4 with vigilance, death touch, and haste. That alone is pretty crazy.
Well, and it prevents, like, it turns fogs into one-sided fogs. Like, it just says damage dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. You can prevent the damage opponent's creatures control do.
How much is this selling for? Scroll down and take a look at that.
So right now it's $20.
Wow. Yeah. See, made for standard.
It's not released yet. You never know. These things come out and people try them and they don't work as well as they thought, and it'll drop to like 4 or 5.
I think we're going to see this card in standard. But as far as commander goes, these are all good abilities still in commander. I don't know. Like, I guess if you crack one of these, here, let's be real. If you crack one of these, sell it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's selling for $20. Because the thing about it being in commander is like this efficiency that you would be paying the money for isn't as valuable to us. So the 4/4 haste, that and those other abilities are nice. Like killing a planeswalker, that's great. But it's commander. We have other ways to kill planeswalkers. We have other players that can get through and stop a troublesome planeswalker most of the time. So as a commander, I mean, it's fine. Again, it's a good creature, but I think it's just like generally good, but not crazy, not blowing my mind for how much it would be worth.
Bothers me there's no name for it.
Yeah, it does too. It really does.
Let's move on to Sir Farron the Henge Hammer. Green, human knight, 2/2. Whenever Sir Farron the Henge Hammer attacks, another target attacking creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is Sir Farron's power. This is the uncommon green one in the cycle. Okay, so Sir Farron wants to hold some beefy equipment so that when Sir Farron attacks, something else gets big too. Interesting to think about Sir Farron as a commander, where Sir Farron is just the utility. Sir Farron only costs 2, so if they want to block and trade with Sir Farron, that's fine. I've pumped up my huge trampler that's attacking alongside of him, and I'll just cast him again for relatively cheap. I think that's an interesting line of play for a commander. I don't think I've seen that in green before. A lot of work to make him big though, or maybe I would use a bunch of pump spells to just surprise it.
Yeah, I like that Sir Farron rides a bear, and this is a bear.
That's true. Wait a minute.
2/2 for 2.
Okay. But then what is... Okay, so if the bear is the 2/2, then is Sir Farron 0/0?
No, the card is Sir Farron. Sir Farron is a 2/2. But what I mean
So
is
this
like
bear
it's
is 0/0?
Figuratively, it's a bear. Like it's a.
I
it's a
know, but
magic
the
bear.
picture shows him like hanging out with the bear.
Yeah, that's true. It's just hanging out with a bear, though.
There is 2 power in this picture and 2 toughness in this picture.
Does everything in the picture have to be represented power-wise?
Well, not like birds, but like this bear is front and center. Like this bear's wearing a hat and it's like roaring at you. Like I'm sure a little helmet thing.
Yeah.
It's very cute. Little bears with helmets.
I like it. Hey, listen, any knight riding a bear is okay with me.
I don't want to get too deep into our Archon discussion again on this.
That's true.
But,
The Archon discussion is real here. Okay, let's move on then. Sir Farron seems like meh to me as a commander and in the 99. I'm not super stoked.
Yeah.
Yorvo, Lord of Garenbrig.
Fun to say.
Yeah, very fun to say. Yorvo. Green. Is that like you only revolve once? Anyways, green. Go ahead.
My joke is you're going to be like, and Yorvo. My go? No, Yorvo. It's
Yorvo.
Like, oh, still my go.
Yorvo is a legendary giant noble, 0/0. It enters the battlefield with 4 +++ counters. Whenever another green creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +++ counter on Yorvo. Then, if that creature's power is greater than Yorvo's power, put another +1/+1 counter on Yorvo. So I like this ability. I think it's fun. It's not ultra crazy powerful or anything, but I think it's a really neat ability for a green deck that cares about counters, and doubling counters on creatures is going to be a cool thing to do with Yorvo. Getting in with Yorvo with some for commander damage is going to be a fun ability. Maybe moving counters off of Yorvo so that it's growing all the time. Like maybe there's something you can do there.
Yeah.
It's a neat little angle on a mono green commander. I like it.
Yeah, very efficient, right? If you're looking for efficient creatures, if you're looking for +1/+1s, I'd consider Yorvo. Interesting. I'm not sure what I want to do with him right now.
Yeah, I think some of those possibilities, specifically revolving around counters, are going to be interesting. And yeah, see where you go from there.
Cool. Let's move on to a couple of multicolor commanders that Eldraine brings us, and we're going to use this time to kind of input the Brawl deck commanders. Because we're not going to do like a separate episode on them. So we'll just kind of mention them here and give our 2 cents on them. We've already had a chance to play with them in Arena if you were involved in that event not too long ago. But just real quick, we've got Chulain, Teller of Tales. This one is the Bant one. 2 green, white, blue for a human druid, vigilance, 2/4. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. Then you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Yikes. That's pretty impressive. 3 tap, return target creature you control to its owner's hand. This is a pushed commander.
Yeah.
Just for value alone, little like coiling oracles, Farhaven elves, little dorky creatures that also ramp us, allow us to draw a card and put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's not playing our land. We're allowed to ramp faster this way. So just like jamming all those types of creatures is a great way to just ramp like crazy. And you get to activate ability to return target creature to take advantage of that over and over and over. Throw in a bunch of cool ETB creatures. This deck is going to be powerful.
If anyone played in that Brawl thing on Arena where you got to sort of preview these cards and actually get your hands on them digitally, of course, Chulain was arguably the best commander, I would say.
Sure.
Just because like anytime you got a Frilled Mystic and 7 mana, it was very difficult for your opponents to do anything. Now, mind you, that was 1v1, so that's how it works.
Yeah, it's different.
It's easier to lock an opponent out that way. But Chulain was amazing. Just for the ability of casting a creature spell. It's so good. These colors love bouncing creatures. These colors love the back to hand stuff. There's a wealth of possibilities with this commander. I almost want to say it's too much. It's almost too good.
It doesn't say put a land into the battlefield tapped. You put that land down untapped. So if you have mostly basics, you can be like, okay, Coiling Oracle, cool, I'll draw my card, I'll play my land. Coiling Oracle, found a land, that comes into play tapped. Let's do like one of those little dorks that puts a land in my hand. That drew me a card, I'll play a land from my hand I already have. Then the one that I find from it is the land I'm going to drop with the next creature I play with this extra land that came out. This is like, maybe I want to upgrade the Tatiova Dorks Tribal to a Chulain Dorks Tribal.
Chulain, so good. It's
oh my gosh, and
strong.
you have white too? So like once you get Emeria Sky Shepherd going, and you're dropping planes back onto the battlefield and bringing creatures back from the graveyard or permanents back from the graveyard to the battlefield, or to your hand to recast them. Wow. Yeah. This is pushed. This is so pushed.
This is very pushed, yes.
Okay.
I think you'll see some of the other ones aren't quite as pushed, but Tulane is there, man. Tulane is
big surprise they spoiled this first.
And also, don't forget, Tulane's ability can target himself.
Target protection.
Yeah, it's got a little protection built in there, which to me, like that's one way you could have mitigated his power a little bit. It's like how Rune can't do himself. Like that's pretty fair. But the fact that Tulane can, I mean, the fact I get you still have to recast it, but like, man, that's fine. You know,
I want to know. I want to hear about the R&D meeting where someone was like, "Okay, you know what? Add vigilance." Like this.
Yeah, exactly. I got an idea.
So
I want vigilance.
I want to be able to attack and use his ability.
Yeah,
it's like
not necessary, guys. Like, reel it in a bit. But for real, like, you know, it's not like completely bust or anything. I'm certainly not complaining about Tulane. This is a cool card.
No.
It's going to be a lot of fun to play with. It's going to be annoying to play against, but it's going to be fun to play with.
I suppose I just use it to illustrate how like it is pointless to try to figure out what R&D is thinking when they do.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. This one's insane. Tulane's way too good. Sir Gwyn, Hero of Ashvale. This is the Mardu one. 3 red, white, black, so 6 in total for the 5/5. Vigilance, Menace, Human Knight. Whenever an equipped creature you control attacks, you draw a card and you lose a life. And then equipment you control have Equip Knight 0. So you can equip Knights for free. And when you attack with an equipped creature, you draw a card, lose a life. And Sir Gwyn also, hey, let's add Vigilance. Same thing.
Well, at least Sir Gwyn's going to be attacking, right?
Yes.
Like you expect Sir Gwyn to attack. I don't expect Chilling. I'm just going to do a quick Scryfall search here for the coolest knight from the past who wants to wear Helm of the Host, because like that free equip.
Well, it's
to
probably
me is...
Sir Gwyn. To be honest.
I mean, but
because then whenever you attack with Sir Gwyn,
you're drawing a couple, yeah,
you draw more cards. Yeah, look that up. There's a lot of knights. Obviously, they're pushing knights hard in Eldraine, and we get this whole deck was built around knights. To me, this was an excellent commander in the 1v1 brawl games, but I think it's loses a bit of its luster in that it's 6 casting costs. That's 6 casting costs. Think about it. Tulane, who has arguably much better abilities, is only 5, and it's in green that can ramp into it really easily. Sir Gwyn is Mardu and costs 6? Like, come on. This poor Sir Gwyn here. She didn't need to cost 6. Like, make this 5.
I've got a couple of front runners for cool knights to just run to get that Helm of the Host on.
By the way, can I just say that I'm going to write a pilot for a show called Cool Knights, and it's going to be a bunch of actual knights, but in Miami, and they're detectives at night.
Yes,
Cool
detectives at night, knights during the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Just off the top of my head, Arvad the Cursed, giving all your other legendaries +2/+2. Now they're all getting +4/+4 and each other. I think Adriana, Captain of the Guard, is pretty cool, giving everything double melee, which stacks. I think just Edgar Markov. I mean, you got to be Vampire Knights, but like multiple Edgar Markovs is pretty awesome. Off the top of my head.
I mean, that's Helm of the Host for you. You know, it's gonna make them all quite good. But yeah, Sir Gwyn, to me is a little overcosted. Like you could have made this a 4 mana 2/2 or a 5 mana 3/3, and I would have been much happier.
Sure.
Especially if you're gonna push Tulane that hard. Like Tulane's so good.
It truly doesn't seem fair.
No, it really doesn't. But I still like Sir Gwyn. I think it's also like the most on rails, I think, of the commanders, because you're going to want knights and equipment, and that's it.
Like this brawl deck is going to be the most easily upgraded, because Throne of Eldraine, like by packs, is just chock full of knights and knight support. So like this brawl commander is going to get bumped big time.
Yeah, I am a little disappointed that they made this one Like you can like push the Mardu commander a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah, you don't need to push the Bant one.
No, I know. Yeah, exactly. You don't need to push the one that has blue and green in it.
Yeah, right,
right. That already counts as so much. All right, who's next?
Okay, we got a Jund one. This is Corvold, Fey Cursed King. 2 black, red, green. Legendary Dragon Noble, 4/4, flying. Whenever Corvold enters the battlefield or attacks, sack another permanent, any permanent, so that could be like your little extra artifacty things. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Corvold and draw a card. Well. Corvold has the potential to kill out of nowhere. Just sacking enough things to give Corvold a one-hit kill is very real.
Yeah.
You're in green and black, so it's pretty easy to give him infect along the way and make that job a little easier for you if you want to. And then these are colors that love sacrificing things anyway, so I think there's a lot of this commander to me doesn't have any obvious lines, but the skeleton of it is like very good for the colors that you're in.
Yeah, this was my favorite of the brawl decks to play in 1v1 just because it had a lot of interaction in it. It had a lot of goings-ons. Obviously food from this set was a big theme with this guy, so
sure,
sacrificing the tokens to Corvold or just sacrificing them and then drawing cards with them, like it was really, really great, really, really fun. There's tons of stuff in black that just sacrifices and comes back. Obviously, Jund is well versed in those types of things. So Corvold was great because he became a threat so quickly that it was hard for your opponents to deal with. So I do imagine that this requires a bit of setup, and that's the mitigating sort of factor with Corvold, is that you can't just drop him and expect that you're gonna win right away. But what you need to do is like get some of the stuff in your hand. Then when Corvold comes in, get that ready to go, and then you can just go.
Well, and there's even a possibility where you're like, well, I don't have all the stuff I need to protect him, but I'm going to start sacking things and drawing cards, and I'll get what I need to protect him. Like,
I almost don't even want to attack with Corvold, no matter how big he gets, because he's just so good at sitting there with that ability of when you sack a permanent, draw a card. Like that alone is so good. I just want it around.
Terramorphic Expanse.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that happens. That happens in the brawl deck.
Cool.
I like Corvold a lot. Power level seems just fine to me.
Who's the last?
The last one is Alila, Artful Provocateur. 1 white, blue, black. So Esper for the 2/3 legendary fairy warlock. Warlock, I think, is also a new creature type. From the set. Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink. A nice combination of abilities there. Other creatures you control get with flying get +1/+0. And whenever you cast an artifact or enchantment spell, create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. Very fun, very cool. We can go artifacts on this. We can go enchantments. We can go a nice mix of the two. Go obviously looking at a lot of flyers. This deck was a lot of fun to play too. A little overwhelm tokeny strategy. You get basically she makes 2/1s, which is a really cool ability. Like that alone is very strong.
Yeah, and
she's a great blocker for anything that's trying to get through to you. Alila is a very good commander. Very fun.
I mean, I've got one toe on the soapbox about they're going ham on creature types. Like, isn't a warlock just a kind of wizard? Like, why subdivide these things?
I'm sure that anyone who is really well versed in witches, warlocks, and wizards will tell you the differences. But I agree. Okay. I don't get it. I don't understand.
From a fiction point of view, certainly differences can be pointed out. But from a game point of view, you don't want to divide everything to the most granular level. Like, we already have beasts, but we also have elks, but we also have where does that line go? I don't know. So here's another confusing of the lines of creature types. And there's an artifact later on I'm gonna get back on this soapbox pretty hard.
Okay, great. Can't wait to hear about it. But we do overall, I'd say these. We're not done these exactly yet, right? There's still two.
There's 2 more multicolor that are not brawl commanders.
Right.
Let's start with Grumgully the Generous. 1 red-green for a goblin shaman. 3/3. Each other non-human creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. This is an uncommon. It's pretty cheap. As your commander, you're just going to want to do a real stompy thing, giving extra things counters. This is not a Simic commander, so you can't take full advantage of +1/+1s, but there's a lot of green creatures that do care about that stuff. And in the 99 of a lot of Gruul decks that already are smashing hard, like it lets you smash a little bit harder, seems borderline to me. Like, I don't know, like it might be a bit of a win more thing. Like if I'm already tuned to smash hard, I probably don't need the extra +1/+1. But we'll see.
If anyone's looking to build a red-green, Gruul Goblin deck that doesn't use a 6-mana commander,
sure,
right? Like this is because that would be who you would use before, right? Was what's her face? You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. She comes with 2 buddies
or whatever. It
is. Yeah.
Anyways, Grumgully. So Grumgully's good for that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, great for any token that's not human.
Yeah, of course. Very good. Yeah, I think Grimgully's got something going for him. I think you might even see him be at the helm of some other deck. So I like him as a commander. Seems a little narrow, but could have some opportunities. And as far as the 99 goes, I don't know. You'll know when you want him.
Yeah,
I'd say. Finally, we have Kenrith. This is the Buy a Box promo. Kenrith, the Returned King, 4 and white for the legendary Human Noble, 5/5. He has 5 abilities, and they're fun. First one is pay 1 red. All creatures gain trample and haste until end of turn. Very cool. Next one is 1 and a green. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Nice. 2 and a white is the next one. Target player gains 5 life. Then we have 3 and a blue. Target player draws a card. Strong. And the last one is 5 and a black. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under its owner's control.
It's 4 and a black.
Sorry,
cheaper.
I said 5 and a black. I meant
5 total because they
yes.
go up by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. So 5 abilities, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. What are we thinking about this? I think Guy, our buddy in our playgroup, is going to change the commander of his Secret Partners deck that we played during the play variant Secret Partners to this.
Yeah.
This will be the new commander for that deck, and I think that makes perfect sense because it's all target player. That's what he was saying. It's like that's a great point. So anyone has a deck like that, it's going to be nice. But this is a great political card, right? Like you can do this to anyone.
The Raised Dead is interesting because it goes under its owner's control. You don't get to take from other graveyards. You just like get them to pop out.
Yeah,
like
that is interesting.
Like if you can somehow get infinite mana, Kenrith you can make a player draw all of their cards and lose that way. This is also it's a buy box promo, so those ones never become super cheap, I don't think, because I think people are going to want this card.
Yeah.
I'm always on the lookout for like good generic 5-color commanders because it's so hard to find a 5-color commander that is like on a very specific theme. This is just a great one to have where it's like, yeah, if I end up casting Kenrith, I'm going to want to use any of these abilities at some point.
Yeah, agreed. Very fun, very cool design. I just love the simple ability of like, oh, you had this creature enter the battlefield? I'll pay 1 red, and guess what? It's got haste and trample now.
Yeah.
It's like, now go ahead and take out this person who, we've all been trying to take out for a while.
Neat.
Like, that's the kind of stuff that sometimes like, man, does anyone have any way to give my guy haste? Because I can stop him from winning this turn, and then Kenrith's going to be that creature. Very cool. So overall, how are we feeling about these legendaries?
We were spoiled with C19 with those legendaries for sure, but like if you're thinking about a regular set, we got a ton of them, and I definitely think there's a few that I'm excited to brew around and a bunch that I think have potential. I just haven't sat down and figured it out yet. So as far as getting new legendaries go, it makes sense too that now that when Brawl is becoming more front and center, that they kind of push the legendaries a little bit. I think that makes sense. But as commander players, I'm happy that they're doing that. I like them. Keep them coming.
Here's something I don't know how stoked I am about.
Okay.
All of the best commanders from this set are from the Brawl product and are Kenrith. So
that's true.
We're talking about not from this set.
Oh, that's right. These are not from the set. So I have to read. Yeah.
And I was just looking up while we were chatting about it just to see if I can confirm or, if I can confirm that these things are not available in the set. And it doesn't look like it, although I haven't seen anything that says for sure that they're not. Maybe
What about set number?
Huh?
Sometimes the card number gives it to you. Like it says because Grumgully says 192 out of like 269. Nice. But Kenrith doesn't have a out of. It's 303.
Yeah, and Corvold just has 329.
Yeah, they don't have out of, so I think they're not available.
Yeah, and I know that there are cards that are only in the Brawl decks. Like we're going to talk about some of them, but yeah, so it looks like that's the case. Listen, if it's not the case, great, no problem, everything's fine. But if that is the case, which I'm pretty sure it is, just judging by what I've seen on the internet and stuff, I think that's kind of rough, man. That means the best stuff that for us Commander players isn't really in the set. You're gonna go buy these Brawl things.
Oh, and boy,
them like, I don't know, man. Like that seems, I don't know. It's a little greasy to me. I don't know. Like,
so
now, I can't just draft and hope to get these fun things. I've got to go spend $40 or something. Like,
I mean, my gameplay personality is like it's a split between Commander and Draft, heavier on the Commander side. But I do love drafting, and it was always nice to, like, if these cards are good in Standard, I could like sell them back to the store and draft some more. But it was also nice to open some cool Commander cards. But yeah, if I'm incentivized to, like, if there's nothing for a Commander player, I'm definitely a bit less interested in Draft. And I do think, not to get too deep on this, but like it's so easy to draft on Arena now. I know it's bots and I know it's different, that like I'll admit I haven't been to the store to draft in a very long time, partly because of schedule and workload, but also I get my itch. I scratch the itch on Arena, and like I'm not feeling like I gotta get to a draft. Like,
is this something, do you think, that they saw and then were like, let's do this? So if people are largely drafting on Arena now, like I was even listening to LR and the Sunset show for M20, Marshall and Luis were like, I don't even think I drafted this in real life. And Luis said the same thing. And it's like, man, that's weird. Those guys play a lot. And they're traveling around. They got the coverage team. They're like doing their own drafts all the time, it seemed like, before.
I love opening physical packs with my hands. Of course. And shuffling, looking through the cards and the smells. Like, I don't want to lose that.
But is this a thing of like, well, we're not doing that anyways, so we got to get Commander players to spend money still, and the way to do that, I'm not going to buy packs. Include all of our good Commander stuff in these, like.
Well, it's okay, but I think that's an argument against that theory because that would lead Commander players to not buy packs. I think they would want Commander players to buy packs if they're not drafting.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is that, like, maybe they looked at it and they're like, hey, mostly people are not really buying packs anymore. So let's.
But they have to buy packs.
I mean, how would they know that Commander players aren't? So like, is this their way of getting money out of us Commander players who aren't drafting anyways?
I don't know.
That seems like maybe.
Well, I mean, the community is getting real. We're talking a lot about Wizards' motivations, and we talk about whether it's Wizards or whether it's Hasbro putting the thing down. You got to make more money. We all know they got to make a profit to keep going.
That's fine,
yeah. And we all know that there are tons of restrictions and stuff. Like I feel like I'm hearing a lot of talk on the bad things about the money and the value, but I do want to, like, I'm not going to like support shady business practices, but we've gotten more new Magic cards in the last little while than we've ever had before. So it is like there are a lot of positives that have come out with whatever new angles they're going with.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's all doom and gloom or anything. It just seems like I'm not sure this is going to work out to be better for us as Commander players.
I don't know. I'm feeling the fatigue.
Because, like, feeling the fatigue, but also, like, so we just had Commander products come out. Brawl products are coming out. It's like, are we going to end up spending more, or am I going to buy these two things for the year and that's it?
I don't know.
Because I know, I mean, as far as Arena goes, like, I put in I'm like Ryan Spain. I put in $5 at the beginning, and I haven't put any money into that yet.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Because the coins and the drafts and everything, I've done okay. Yeah. I've got some gems,
Like I don't have the time or the energy to like draft 50 times a week.
No, yeah.
In which case I'd have to dump a bunch of money in. But like at the rate I play, like I'm just like, yeah, I have all the Magic I want on Arena for free.
Yep. So interesting. Let us know whether it's on Twitter or in YouTube comments or what have you. Let us know what you're thinking about it, because it seems to me like they're like most of the commanders certainly are kind of, we only get the mono colored ones in the set. Is it better that we have to go now buy potentially these brawl decks to get access to this type of stuff? That might even be better? I don't know.
I don't know.
But let's move on. Let's start looking at the cards that are actually in the set within Throne of Eldraine.
So we're starting with lands.
With some lands, yeah.
Yeah, we've got 2 cycles of lands, one at rare, one at common. So starting with the rare ones, these are pretty neat. They come into play untapped with conditions. So the white one they're all castles. The white one is Castle Ardenvale. Not sure why they didn't make them legendary lands. Like how many Castle Ardenvales could there be?
That's true.
But
it should have been kind of.
But it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a plains. So it leans towards more mono, playing less colors than more colors. It taps to add white, and for 2 white tap, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Lands that come into play untapped and have abilities on them are so good. Mm-hmm. So like if you are mostly white or maybe 2 colors, I think you got to put a Castle Ardenvale in. There's one for every color.
All you need is a plains. That's not that hard,
Yeah, I mean, unless you're 3 or 4 colors and like all your duels are all non-basics and don't say plains.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say basic plains. You can even do those like shock lands that have plains in the type.
Yeah, it's totally. The red one is Castle Embereth, and it's the same thing. The tapping thing but it's with a mountain. Tap for red, and then it has 1 red, tap, creatures you control get +1/+0 until the end of turn. So it gives fire breathing in a way to all your creatures. And you're spending 4 because you have to tap this as well. So the previous one was 5 mana essentially, because it's 4
to make a token.
Make a 1/1. This is 4, give all your creatures +1/+0. So obviously this one has way more setup. You need the creatures first.
Yeah.
And you need to have like 4 of them. Kind of.
I mean, if this is you need to you need a lot of creatures for this to matter. But like if this is almost a basic mountain, I'm putting it in.
Yeah.
Castle Garenbrig is the green one. 2 green plus this adds 6 green mana. Spend this only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of creatures. So it ramps you. So you spend 5 to get 6.
Yeah.
I've heard someone online compare this, say this is the good Temple of the False Gods, because you can use it earlier.
Yeah.
And it's sort of it itself is sort of like 2 mana. Like you're not getting a crazy amount, but like if you can untap lands, like you can like get benefits from it. I think it's neat. It's a small improvement, but it's better than a basic, right?
Yeah, and the only problem is like it has to cast green creature spells.
Green creatures or just creatures at all?
Pardon?
Any creature, not necessarily green. Oh, but there's 6
but
for
it has
green.
to, right? Like especially if you're trying to do it on curve, it has to be a green creature and a mono green creature at that. So there's a little bit of downside there, but I like Castle Garenbrig. Seems neat to me.
I mean, in a mono green deck, you want that.
Yep, totally. Next is Castle Lochthwain. It adds a black, and you can pay 1 black and tap it to draw a card, then lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. So when I was looking at all these, I looked at all of them and I was like, yeah, these are all pretty good. These are fine and everything. And then I looked at Castle Lochthwain and I was like, this is great. This one's way better than the rest of them, I think.
Sure. Yeah, we're okay with paying life in Commander. So usually drawing a card costs us 2 life for a lot of effects. But if this ends up costing us 5, like look, there's no opportunity cost to put this in your deck. It takes the place of a land. It probably comes in play untapped. You don't ever have to use it, and it didn't change your deck makeup in any way. But if you want to, it's there. It's just upside.
Yeah, it's going to be fine to pay 4, draw a card, lose even 3-4 life. Like sometimes you're just totally up for that,
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to activate it when you have no cards in your hand.
And the blue one is Castle Vantris. The 2 blue plus this tap, Scry 2. again, like blue is a color that's most likely to have a bunch of lands up at the end of turn, and if I've got nothing to do, this is yet another mana sink that is like, I'm fine with this. Like I'm looking at these as if they are basics with upside, and heck yeah, I want this in a deck.
Yeah, Vantress is kind of like Crystal Ball, right? Like, obviously you pay
Sure.
more for it, but if you're
But
leaving
like
mana up in a blue deck, like
it
that's just free. Yeah, we'll take it, man. No
it
problem.
doesn't take a card spot.
Yeah, agreed. It's good. All these lands are quite good. You're not sacrificing the land to do it, which is like a really common thing that would happen in the past. So I think
Yeah.
these castles are all quite good. I'm the most down on the red one just because there's
Yeah.
more like unnecessarily more setup for the red one to be good than it is for any of the other ones to actually be able to work, right?
Right.
And that's so bad just because red has such a tough time with it. But I guess in other formats, the red one's fine. I don't know. Anyways, to me, the blue and the
Okay.
black one are the best. And
Yeah.
followed by the rest.
So we got some common ones too. Starting with the red one, Dwarven. Is that the Dwarven Mine is up first. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more mountains. So these also can come into play untapped, but they require a much more dedication to the color that they are. So I might play these in a 2-color deck. I certainly would in a monocolor deck, but I would not play them in a 3 or more color deck. Unless the ability is so key to what I'm doing. So the red one, when it enters, it also only matter. It has to enter untapped for this to happen.
Yes.
So if it's okay, so that I didn't realize. I thought this just always happened. I read it a little bit quickly. So yeah, you have to be pretty much mono red, and if you do, and you get this untapped, you also get a 1/1 red dwarf creature token.
The crazy thing is that this is a mountain.
Oh, it
This
is a mountain.
So anything that like
Wow.
Farseek will go find this for you, and
Wow.
fetch lands can go grab this now. Not
Cool.
obviously not the basic ones, but actual fetch lands. So you can grab this at an opportune time. That there is a little bit of an upside there.
Okay.
Next, the land, the green one is a forest. It's gingerbread cabin. Again, under they're all this. Enter the battlefield tab unless you control 3 or more of whatever the thing is. It enters if it enters untapped, you create a food token. So
Cool.
same thing, and I think in like a mono or 2-color deck, you're pretty okay to run this and just get a random food token once in a while.
Yeah, Idyllic Grange is the white one, and it puts a +1/+1 counter on target creature if all the conditions are met.
Great. Blue one is Mystic Sanctuary, and if it enters untapped, you may put target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library.
I like that a lot.
That's cool, yeah.
The black one is Witch's Cottage, and if you meet all the conditions, you put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. That's pretty good too. If you are in a deck that you think you're mostly monocolored, that these will enter untapped most of the time and you'll get its ability, I say run them. It's very little cost.
So in a monocolor deck, this is a better Mortuary Mire.
Yeah.
And in a in a 2 or 3-color deck, like, is Mortuary Mire better? Like, because you get the get the creature on top every time.
Yeah, and you get to choose when it happens. Like if you curve into Witch's Cottage, you might not have anything good to do with it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like again, if it doesn't cost you anything, like what I mean is if your deck is monocolored, tons of basics, this shouldn't really, like the percentage you lose is very minimal. It seems worth it for the effect for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think also the fact that this one cares the most that it's a swamp. Black cares a lot about the number of swamps, right? So the fact that Witch's Cottage is a swamp, I think that means this is an auto include in black, in mono black.
Sure. So that's the new lands we have access to that are like the cycles, but there's one more land that's very special, Andy. I really like this one. What do you think of this one?
Fabled Passage is a land that just says tap, sacrifice Fabled Passage, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Then, if you control 4 or more lands, untap that land.
This is strictly better Evolving Wilds.
Yes, it is. It is strictly better Evolving Wilds. You sacrifice it, basic land, onto the battlefield tapped, but then you can untap it if you have 4 more lands. So yeah, it's late game better. It's a rare, so this is going to be an expensive card, unfortunately.
This is the reason to crack a bunch of packs in drafts. Like,
Yeah.
scoop these up.
Yeah, this is just another. Yeah, you're gonna want this card in Commander for sure. I love making good new lands. I'm not unhappy about that. I'll tell you.
Great. So let's talk about some colorless cards. These cards should have the potential to go to any deck if the ability you want. And from this point forward, we're going to highlight the cards that we think are kind of interesting discussion points or ones that are interesting for decks. We're going to skip over a lot of the vanilla type of ones that aren't that interesting, but I'm sure there's an outlier in there or two that you might know is perfect for a certain deck. Sorry if we've skipped that. But we'll start with Crashing Drawbridge, 2 generic for a wall, 0/4 defender, tap. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. This is amazing. I find myself looking for abilities that give my whole team haste in so many decks, and if I'm in green without red, I gotta go to Concordant Crossroads, and that is way too expensive. If I'm in red, I have some other options, but they're still they get a little bit pricey, but this one comes down early and everything's just getting haste as I cast it. The only time this isn't amazing is if your effect puts all these creatures onto the battlefield at once.
Yeah, because then Crashing Drawbridge has Summoning Sickness. It doesn't have haste itself.
Yeah, but I love it.
It would be funny to put haste on a defender, on an 0/4 defender.
Yeah.
I looked at this at first. I looked at this card. I was like, "What's Sean talking about? Why is this notable? Who cares?" I was like, "Oh, right, it's colorless.
Yeah,
Giving haste in other colors is like rare and very good."
And let's talk about the commanders that have tap abilities, right?
Yeah.
That don't have haste. This comes down before those commanders, I'll bet. And then you're like, how's my commander? You use it right away.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like this a lot. We're sort of, mixing with the color pie here a little bit and giving this, now you're giving haste to other colors, which are not supposed to have access to it. So, okay, all right.
I mean, everyone's got to attack.
I do like that this card isn't an amazing auto include in all decks or something, right? It's an 0/4 defender that doesn't even get to do it the first, the turn you play it. So
yes,
they at least mitigated it that way.
Yeah.
Next we have Enchanted Carriage, 5 mana for a 4/4 vehicle. When it enters the battlefield, you create 2 1/1 white mouse creature tokens. How cute! And then it has crew 2, the little mice that get in and they drive it. It's very cute.
Yeah.
It's a 4/4 for 5. Other than that, it's not crazy impressive, but it's amazing flavor.
Yeah, the flavor is amazing. That's fine. But now what is a rat?
Listen,
what is a
mice and rats are different.
Okay, so what about squirrels then? Squirrels are different too.
Squirrels are different too.
So there are no other classifications of so until Eldraine came out, all rats were rats. There were no mice on any planes before this, because we would have seen individual mice.
Well, I mean, that's if every card in Magic is representative of every creature in any given world, but there certainly are other creatures in other planes that we're just not seeing represented yet, right?
Okay, so if we haven't seen mice before, they were insignificant. But these mice are 1/1s.
These mice can drive a carriage. That's why they're finally significant enough to include as tokens. Yes.
It bothers me, Wizards. It bothers me that these. I mean, I get that for flavor you can't make them rats, but come on, we're getting real loose here. We're getting real loose with creature types.
There's no mouse creature type.
No.
Before, is that also a new creature type?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So nobles, warlocks, and mice.
But mice are so close to rats. I'll give you nobles because, I don't know. But, these are rats. Well, maybe something mad. Because now you get to look at, royalty. But I will ask, Wizards does need to go back and retcon, a lot of the, Queen Marchesa has to be a noble.
Has to be a noble.
Right? A lot of cards should be nobles now. So that needs
King
to
of Keldor
change.
has to be a noble now.
Has to be a noble. You got to go back and change
Must
these.
be a noble.
You must. It's your duty.
You simply must.
You change dinosaurs, and now, you got to tell me what's different between a mouse and a rat, because, I'm bothered.
Rats can't drive vehicles, Sean. It's simple as that.
They can if their power's big enough.
They can. They totally can. Anything can in Magic, apparently. So that's true. That's not even good
These
enough
mice
to
are
make
not
the distinction.
special.
Okay, that's Enchanted
Okay.
Carriage. What else do we have?
Okay, I'm off of it. We've got Heraldic Banner. It's a 3 generic artifact. When it enters the battlefield, choose a color. Creatures you control of the chosen color get +1/+0, and it taps to add 1 mana of the chosen color. 3 mana rocks are very common. This one is significantly worse because it doesn't let us do the color we want, but they have kind of traded that in. They're like, well, we'll give you a different upside.
Right.
You get to, in a monocolored deck that's going pretty wide, I wouldn't mind this for a little bit of ramp. Red and white decks love ramp. If you're Boros, you probably have mostly red or white, or at least 50-50. This is probably a welcome include in like a red token deck for sure wants this.
Here's where it's a downside in like Brea, like Thopters. Like I know that Brea makes blue Thopters, but not everything makes blue Thopters. Most things make colorless Thopters, so that's kind of
right.
Obviously, we can think of a downside for every card, though. But I was just thinking specifically, like, oh, this won't bump up Thopters. Witch's Oven is a 1 mana artifact that has tap, sack a creature, create a food token. If the sacrificed creature's toughness was 4 or greater, create 2 food tokens instead. So this is another card where I was at first, I was like, big deal. But sack outlets are great. We know that.
Yeah.
Even the ones that tap they're not terrible. We can only do this once per turn, which is a bummer. But the ability to simply take a creature and turn it into an artifact, or turn it into 2 artifacts, like that alone is actually way better than it looks.
Yeah.
So that ability is great. Not only do you get any death triggers, and putting things in graveyards obviously that can be great in decks, but yeah, turning things into artifacts is actually something you're going to want in a lot of different decks. And then that doesn't even count the synergy that the food tokens have as the ability to sacrifice themselves or to gain you life, like whatever. Like I think this card is really good.
Yeah, I like it.
It's going to be a little bit narrow, but like sack outlets and artifact decks, this might be something where we see that a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. That's them for colorless then. Let's move on to the cards by color. We'll start with white cards. This first card is the Circle of Loyalty, 4 white, legendary artifact. It's a mythic rare. This spell costs 1 less generic to cast for each knight you control. Creatures you control get +1/+1. And whenever you cast a legendary spell, any legendary spell, could be legendary artifact, whatever, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance, and then you spend 3 and a tap to create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. That is a ton of
3 and white and tap.
3 white tap, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. Yes. So this is certainly a very powerful card, but I'm using this as an example to highlight how many very narrow Knights Tribal cards are in this set. Mm-hmm. And we won't be highlighting all of them because you know what deck those go in. They go in Knights Tribal, right? Like if one shows up that is, like this one is arguably almost good enough on its own because it creates 2/2 tokens with vigilance at a fairly low rate.
I think it is.
4 mana to do that is a good deal, even if you don't care about anything else. So this one's, I think, worth mentioning in that regard. But like, we're not going to mention the knights that pump other knights because it's like, that seems too straightforward. It's like, you know it if you want those.
Yeah, just know that Throne of Eldraine has all the good knight cards in it.
Yeah.
This and Dominaria really push knights hard, and you're going to be well rewarded if you have a Knights Tribal deck.
Yeah.
And I do think Circle of Loyalty is going to be really good in some other decks too, like Legendary Tribal is going to be really good. Obviously, it's an Anthem alone that makes tokens is also really good. Is also good enough for certain decks. So yeah, it's a cool card. Next in white we have Happily Ever After. I like this card a lot. 2 and a white for an enchantment because the flavor is so strong on this one.
Yes.
So 2 and a white for an enchantment, and the enchantment has a lot of text. It says, when Happily Ever After enters the battlefield, each player gains 5 life and draws a card. Okay, I guess that's fine. Anyways, here's the real meat of it. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 5 colors among permanents you control, there are 6 or more card types among permanents you control and or cards in your graveyard, and your life total is greater than or equal to your starting life total, you win the game. So that's a lot of setup. So let's just take it one by one. So you need to have 5 colors on the battlefield. If you have Kenrith, there you go. He counts. So any 5 color thing just counts for
Well,
all 5
Kenrith
colors.
doesn't count as having 5. Kenrith is only a white card.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's color identity, right? I'm so used to that in Commander. You're right. So, but that being said, any 5 color like a mana cost creature, you're absolutely right.
Or it wasn't in the Ravnica. Wasn't there like a Sphinx that was all color, counted as all colors or something?
Yeah, that's true. Yep, yeah. So obviously among permanents, so it can be one permanent or it can be all of them adding up together. You can do that. 6 types. So we have to have the story. It has to have like ended at some point, and you have to have creatures, enchantment, artifact, blah, 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 between your graveyard and battlefield. So you need 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have needed to have gained a life to go higher than your starting life total to win the game. So it probably needs to be a life gain deck in Commander, just because people are going to, see this and come at you. So you want to have a nice land, you want to have a nice buffer there. This has to go in a 5-color deck. Right?
I mean, 5-color decks are where you like 5-color decks are best suited for like alternate wing cons tribal, and this is another one, right? Like this is super fun. It's very flavorful and very fun. But my issue with this that concerns me is that Wizards promised us something for white in Commander that would kind of help the drawbacks, which is card draw or ramp, and we find out that this is what they meant for white is white. White now gets symmetrical card draw, which I made the same noise. like that is not fair.
What? That's hardly a bonus.
No. White does not. It is not worth. So what is card draw? Card draw is card advantage, right? When I cast a blue spell and draw 6 cards, I've got card advantage. White wants to draw cards as well and get some card advantage another way because it can't ramp and it can't draw cards. But if you're making this symmetrical draw, I draw 1 and all my opponents draw 1, I'm down cards. So this hurts White's card advantage thing. Symmetrical draw is not helping Commander. Anyone who said so doesn't know how Commander works in R&D. Mark Rosewater, I know he has to be the marketing guy, so he has to say things are going, we got good things going. I'm sure he knows in his heart that this does not help white Commander decks. So we're still waiting. Wizards, give white some card draw.
Wizards,
give white.
So they made Mentor of the Meek, as we all know, is one of the best white draw cards. Yeah. And it's even quite situational. Yes. They created a card that was only on Arena. Do you remember this? That 6-mana card that let you draw a card. I can't remember exactly what it was.
When a creature entered the battlefield?
Yeah, creature 2 or less power entered the battlefield. You get to draw a card, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just do that. If green gets to draw cards for how big its creatures are, why can't white draw cards for how small its creatures are? Can we do that? Is that okay?
Yeah, can we?
Why do we only have one of those cards printed in real life? At least print that Arena card. That's an auto include in white Commander decks, but it's not it's not a physical card.
Yeah, and if you're why not? Yeah, whenever a 1/1 comes into play, I mean maybe that becomes they're worried about combos, but just you don't have to work that hard to give white a little bit of card advantage. White likes small creatures. How about I don't know, off the top of my head, sorcery. 1 white, 4 generic, draw cards equal to the number of creatures with 2 power less you have.
Exactly. There you go.
Why not?
Because Shamanic Revelation is a green card that lets you draw cards for just the number of creatures you have in green. And green has access to 1/1s, right? Green has access to 1/1s very easily. So
come on, Wizards.
That card's solid in Commander, but it's not broken. Let's just make that a white card for Commander. Let's just make it so that it doesn't impact Standard or whatever. Make it cost 5 mana. Who cares? Just give me the ability to give that to Boros decks. Anyways, Happily Ever After, I think, is a neat card with neat design. Kind of makes you... the reason I like is it makes you construct a story, kind of. You need to have these 5 colors. You need to have these amount of cards. You need to have gained life. It really gives you It really reminds me of the old Star Wars CCG game where you get a mission, and that card would live there. It would give you some advantages, give you some disadvantages, and it would give you something to work towards. And Happily Ever After, Like I would love it if somehow Happily Ever After could just exist in the command zone. Think about still how pretty hard that is to make work, even if your opponents couldn't interact with this, you know?
That would be a fun alternative way to play Commander, where you just be like, oh, you want to play Happily Ever After this time, where everyone, that's just in play for everybody.
Wow,
and then just like first person to get there.
That's interesting. I wonder, like, yeah, that's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Okay, enough. I'll get off of that thing. So the next this is a cool card. This is Hushbringer, 1 and a white for a fairy. It's 1/2. It's got flying and lifelink. Creatures entering the battlefield or dying don't cause abilities to trigger. Well, that's a hate bear if there ever was one. Yeah, white stopping those abilities. White has this effect even more. This is if you know you want this effect, this is a cool new one for that. Sweet.
You know what I want to see out of these cards for Commander? I want to see one that doesn't stop my stuff.
Ooh, well, but see, white is all about balance, though,
I know,
right?
I know.
That's why, yeah.
I know it is. But this is a white ability that is very useful in Commander, but I never run these things because there's way too many things that I want to have happen as well.
Yeah,
you know?
it's true.
And I know, of course, we can build our deck so that that's not a thing. But, like, try building your deck around and having no ETB abilities. It's tough.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's tough. It's doable. And you can still, I'm not saying you can't have a good deck doing it, but like your options are a little narrow. That being said, yeah, I agree. This card's good, and if you like playing these types of cards. Anyways, next is Archon of Absolution, 3 and a white for a 3/2. Archon, here we are. We're back on the Archon debate. It's flying, protection from white, which we all know means that this creature cannot be blocked, targeted, dealt damage, enchanted, or equipped by anything white. Creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. So it's a little bit of a Ghostly Prison ability for half the price, but this is also a creature with protection from white. I guess that's your upside there.
I mean, they're not going to print any more Ghostly Prison type effects, so now we're starting to get them with a little bit weaker on creatures because they're dealt with easier. This appears to be where they're telling us is the more fair version of that ability.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll take them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if they don't print that again. I bet you they will. Like that type of card again. I bet you they will. You're right, though. You're right, though, in that, like, lately they've been printing it on creatures and it only costs 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm excited by this card. This is True Love's Kiss. It's 2 white for an instant. Exile target artifact or enchantment. Draw a card. So, see, this is all we need, Wizards. Just way more stuff with cantrips and stuff. But so 3 mana, exile an artifact or enchantment is pretty standard for white with upside. So for an extra mana, we get to draw a card on top of it. This is probably gonna be my second one. My first one's gonna be the one that cycles.
Yeah.
And then this is number 2.
I agree. This is nice. Don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
We're on to blue.
Okay.
Moving on to blue, we see Folio of Fancies. I wish that Fancies were like, just like a group of people who are like, ooh, we're the Fancies. Like,
ooh, yeah,
we like
yeah.
fancy things. The Folio of Fancies
fancy.
is 1 in blue for an artifact that says players have no maximum hand size. And then you can pay XX and tap. Each player draws X cards. Oh, hang on. I thought like everyone drawing cards was a white thing. But in the very set that they say that that's now going to be a white thing, it's on a blue card. What?
At a way better rate.
Is it way better? Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, because white can't do X, right?
Oh, God.
So, like, this reminds me when I was younger. My friend showed me a comic book where the Superman had a foot race against the Flash, and Superman beat the Flash. Spoiler alert! Which
really?
made me, which made. Right? Which is like, this is all Flash has, man.
This is
like,
this is the only thing. Just let him have it.
Let him have this, man.
That really happened? Because, oh, man. I bet you that's been retconned. I bet you they've had a race since then, and Flash beat him.
Sure. But, like, this is like, it's like, hey, white, you get symmetrical card draw. And I was like, blue, symmetrical card draw, but amp it up.
Amp it up. It's even better. And it is even better because on Folio Fancies, there's another ability. It's 2 in blue, tap. Each opponent puts a number of cards equal to the number of cards in their hand from the top of the library onto the graveyard. So they get to mill their hand size.
Yeah. So it's got no max hand size to incentivize
Players have no
filling
maximum
up
hand size.
Yeah, you're going to fill up your opponent's hand at the end step, and then on your turn, you're going to make everyone mill a bunch. Remember that knight, I forget, is the black one, where every time you mill a creature, everyone takes damage?
Yeah.
If you can make each player draw, I don't know, 6 cards maybe, you got a ton of mana open, then that's on an end step. Then on your turn, you make each opponent put like 8 to 10 cards in the graveyard, and every creature milled is a point of damage to everybody.
Yeah.
That's going to be a game-winning combo.
Yeah. I have a problem with loading up my opponent's hands before I get to do stuff, like
Fair.
you do
That's
this at instant speed, obviously. So like you can wait till, the end step before you go to do the X, everyone draws stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Something about it. It's like you're giving them the opportunity to just blow this up first. And then
I mean, that's true, but like you don't have to do the draw card part. You can just be like, okay, we're all going to mill our hand size every turn.
Yeah. Each opponent does that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I like it.
Yeah. In a mill deck, in a graveyard, like you want to fill up graveyard deck, it seems okay. Yeah. Interesting. All right. What's next?
Ooh, the Magic Mirror. 6 blue. Very expensive legendary artifact. That's 9 total.
Yeah.
But the spell costs 1 generic less for each instant and sorcery in your graveyard, so it's asking us to put this in instant and sorcery decks. You have no maximum hand size. Okay. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a knowledge counter on the Magic Mirror, then draw a card for each knowledge counter on the Magic Mirror. This is weird.
So there's a card that already exists. I run this card in Niv Mizzet. What's it called? Mind Unbound or something like that?
Sure.
Yeah, Mind Unbound is a... I'll just bring it up here. It is 4 blue.
Okay.
For an enchantment that says it's the same thing. You put a counter on it. And then you draw for each counter. So it doesn't give you the maximum hand size thing, and it doesn't give you the reduction in cost. So that's where we get the it's a different type as well, obviously. So this is I'm just saying that there's precedence for this type of card and how good it is in Commander.
Yeah, I just like this effect eventually kills you.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Right, like because you can't draw 5 and then 6 and then 7 and then you're out of cards.
Right. No, you eventually are going to deck yourself. But the idea is to put this in a deck that either wants that to happen,
right?
Most recently my Yarok, the Desecrated deck,
Sure.
loves the Magic Mirror, or a deck where you just are looking to draw for combo pieces or something like that. That being said, I don't think that this is fast enough to do that, actually, if that's the type of deck. So I don't know. Yeah, but like a Niv Mizzet deck where you're looking to draw cards and like deal damage based on that, I think it's still good enough.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, like I mean, again, there's always a better version of any card, generally speaking. So like Mind Unbound is cheaper and does the same thing, but Magic Mirror is a little more expensive. I don't know. I think if you're running Mind Unbound, you're probably going to want the Magic Mirror.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, if that's an effect you want, I'll take 2.
But you might not want 2 of them out at the same time. That might get a little ugly.
Yeah, it would. I don't know.
Anyways, I think it's neat. It's like it's always kind of disappointing to me when they make a card that's like, oh, this card already exists, and you didn't even make it that much better.
Yeah.
I'm up for redundancies, and I'm up for making cards with similar effects. But like this is like basically, you just reprinted this card. Like you kind of just reprinted this card a little bit.
It's very similar.
Yeah, like it doesn't add enough to me. Like it actually kind of made it worse. Anyways, I'm not super excited about the Magic Mirror, but it's but there's decks that want it.
Ooh, what about this next one?
We have Midnight Clock, another artifact, 2 and a blue for an artifact. Taps to add blue, so it's a little blue mana rock.
Blue mana rock.
2 and a blue, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock, okay. And then at the beginning of each upkeep, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock. When the 12th hour counter is on Midnight Clock, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library, then draw 7 cards, and you exile the Midnight Clock. It's a little like Time Twister type of effect, type of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and it's a wheel effect there, basically.
But it's also ramp. Like it would be one thing if you cast this and it didn't do anything until 12 counters came on. But like in a mono blue deck, I'm happy to get a piece of ramp out there, and eventually it's going to refill my hand. This is a very cool card, and I want it.
And not to mention, like, you can buy this back artifact stuff out of the graveyard. You know,
You do have to
anything
exile
that
it.
proliferating. You know, getting those hour counters up, like, not bad.
Yeah, you do have to exile it though, so you can't get it back once you've done it
Oh,
once.
yeah, you're right. You don't just sacrifice it.
Yeah.
Boring. Okay, well, that's always lame. It's always lame when they stop a fun combo.
Next up, we got Mirror Maid. This is very exciting. This is 1 blue for an enchantment. You may have Mirror Maid enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact or enchantment on the battlefield. It's a clone for an artifact or enchantment. Copy enchantment, is that a reserve list? Like no, but it's very expensive then.
It's very expensive.
Like copying enchantments is an ability we rarely get, and I'm very excited to see this printed in a standard legal set, so it's going to be way cheaper.
Yeah, copy enchantment is like a $12 card that was printed in Ravnica.
Okay.
You're thinking copy artifact. I think.
Sure.
Is that reserve list?
Power artifact is reserved, I think.
Yeah, no.
Copy artifact's been printed a bunch of times. Anyways, these are powerful effects that are expensive because they enable wicked combos. This is a little bit more expensive than its counterparts we mentioned, which makes it more affordable money-wise. I'm so happy that they gave this card to us.
Copy artifact is on the reserve list, so that would be one reason why it's more expensive. Although you can find a version that's about $20. Otherwise, there are versions that are as much as $700.
Okay.
But yeah, this is I predict this to be the most sought after commander card in the set.
Well,
when I was looking at them, I was like, this is. I mean, it just recreates a very wanted ability in commander. That's at this point kind of costs money, right?
I mean, grab it now while it's $2. Then
definitely, yeah. Yeah. You need to get this in your artifact and enchantment decks, 100%. Yeah. And even then, it's kind of just generally good, anyways. Oh, I'll just make a Swiftfoot Boots, or I'll just make a Lightning Greaves, I'll just make a Doubling Season, whatever, right? Like, this card's crazy.
Or another Helm of the Host.
What? Okay. Yeah, but this might be my most excited. I'm most excited for this card.
Yeah, fair.
Next, we have Fairy Formation, 4 and a blue for a 5/4 flying fairy that has 3 and a blue. Create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. Draw a card. I was there for the 5/4 flying fairy that made 1/1 fairies, and I'm definitely here for the draw card. So yes, love it.
Yeah. I also love the like paying 4 to draw a card is pretty standard. One of those being blue, and if you get a little token with it, imagine that with Ashnod's Altar. Now, like your next one, you can use that fairy to make the next draw a little bit cheaper. I do like this card.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Next up, we have Shimmer Dragon. This is 4 blue for a dragon. It's a 5/6 with flying. As long as you control 4 or more artifacts, this has hexproof. And you get to tap 2 untapped artifacts you control to draw a card. Here is where we're seeing some real benefit for having tons of little token artifacts, treasures, foods, clues. This probably has hexproof, so your opponents can't disrupt it very easily, and it is a draw engine in your blue artifact deck. You can just start tapping your artifacts that you aren't tapping for other reasons to just fill your hand up with cards. So I do like it.
Is this card also only available in the Brawl decks?
Is it? Oh, I guess it is.
I think it is. Yeah, I think
through me.
Fairy Formation is too, right?
Is it? Oh, I haven't been paying that close. So the little number at the bottom, if it's not out of.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah, so Fairy Formation is, yeah.
Dang. Didn't notice.
Shimmer Dragon is too. These are standard legal cards, so they are going to be sought after by standard players. I've already heard some chatter about Shimmer Dragon. It seems like a nice finisher that's hexproof.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shimmer Dragon. I think this is going to be a big EDH card again. And in that Brawl little preview thing, man, this card was amazing. It was like the best card. You were really hoping to draw this card in that like fairy deck.
Okay.
Next we have.
This next one is a Brawl card too.
Elders, 6 and a blue for a 4/4. Human Artificer. Artifact creatures you control have flying. Sweet. And then at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target non-creature artifact you control become a 0/0 artifact creature. If you do, put 4 +1/+1 counters on it. So if you have it become a creature, you put the counters on it. it's weird. It kind of looks like, and obviously they wouldn't have printed it this way if this were the case, but it kind of looks like you animate the artifact, it becomes a 0/0, and then it dies, and then you try to put four counters on it.
Yes.
But like, because it's all one thing, nothing happens in between, right? Like, is that
right? The state-based actions aren't checked until a spell is resolved again.
Right. So there you go. So yeah, that seems cool though. This seems like a neat card. Giving all your artifact creatures flying alone is pretty fun.
A brawl only card.
Yeah. This is in the brawl decks. Yeah.
We've also got, this one is in the main set. This is Frogify, 1 and a blue for an aura enchant creature. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a blue frog creature with base power and toughness 1/1. This is, I'm always interested when they print us an ability that actually gets rid of a commander temporarily.
True, yeah.
Your opposing commanders don't get to shuffle it or move it to the command zone. They have to find a way for it to die in combat or to sacrifice it to get their commander back. I don't mind it.
Yep. No, they're always notable. And finally, Into the Story. 5 blue for an instant that says this spell costs 3 generic less to cast if an opponent has 7 or more cards in their graveyard. Draw 4 cards. So it's potentially 4 mana instant, draw 4 cards.
Very good.
Very good.
Yeah,
very good. The fact that this is in the main deck, set, this isn't a brawl card, is nice. I think you might want to run this a bit. Hey, like, I
like it.
Yeah, I like it.
It's probably like graveyards get full.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, and it's just cards. It's not anything else. Okay, so we like that one.
Let's move on to some black cards. We've got a mythic legendary artifact. It's the Cauldron of Eternity. 10 black. That's 12 CMC, but it costs 2 generic less for each creature card in your graveyard, so potentially just black. Whenever a creature you control dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. So once the Cauldron's out, new creatures don't go to your graveyard. So your graveyard will only empty because 2 and a black, tap, pay 2 life, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, activated only time you could activate a sorcery. Notice it doesn't say sacrifice or exile that creature. You can just fully take creatures out of your graveyard. Eventually, though, your graveyard will be empty, and those creatures that did come back, if they do die, they will now go on to the bottom. So the graveyard will not get any new bodies in it. So the Cauldron eventually has no use anymore, which I think is brilliant design. You have to find a way to bounce or destroy this and then start filling up your graveyard again, or to just try to get it going again. But what an interesting design. Phase 1, fill up the graveyard. Phase 2, utilize the graveyard.
Phase 3, Phase 4, profit.
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
I think it's a neat card. I think this is going to be easily like you said, like bouncing or blinking or something. I think you're going to be able to do that or sacrifice and bring it back, whatever. You're going to be able to do that. It's an artifact, so it's a little bit harder in black, but I think you're going to be able to find ways, and this card's going to be pretty sweet.
I'm very excited to pay 2 black mana and cast this with Vile Smasher on the board, and someone takes 12.
Yeah, you don't often see that 10 in the generic mana slot there. That's a rarity. Okay, next we have Clackbridge Troll. 3 black for an 8/8 troll. Trample and Haste. Wow, that's nuts. 5 mana for an 8/8 with Trample and Haste. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent creates 3 0/1 white goat creature tokens. The 3 Billy Goats Gruff. At the beginning of combat on your turn, any opponent may sacrifice a creature. If a player does, tap Clackbridge Troll. You gain 3 life and you draw a card.
Where is the drawback for a 5 mana 8/8 Trample Haste here? Like,
exactly.
shouldn't there be a drawback somewhere?
Oh, you're going to sacrifice one of your goats? Oh, I get to draw a card? And I gain 3 life? Yeah, no problem.
Like, this doesn't make sense. It has trample. Those goats aren't going to stop it.
The goats can't stop it, so the best thing for them to do is to make you draw a card and gain 3 life? Like,
great.
This troll is snacking on goats.
Snacking on goats.
No matter what's going on. Like, the only way, I guess, is like, if they have a death touch creature or something, you're like, okay.
I guess. But also, like, keep in mind, too, that, like,
you don't have to attack that person, though, right?
You don't have to. And also, giving opponents creatures is a very rare ability, and some decks really want you to give your opponents creatures. 0/1s, probably the best ones to give them. So, like, just keep an eye out if your deck wants to do that.
That's true. You give each opponent 3 creatures.
No, target opponent.
Oh, I thought it was oh no. Yeah, you're right. Why did I think it said each?
Any opponent may sacrifice a creature.
That's why it is. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any opponent can sacrifice a creature. Okay, see that's a bit of a downside. You're giving all your opponents a sack outlet on your turn, which is something.
Yeah,
but it's not that good.
I guess that is the drawback. That is the drawback. But I'm drawing a card from it, right? Like
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We like
next
it.
Next up, we've got Murderous Rider. This is the next adventure card we're bringing up. We haven't seen any adventure cards that really were exciting with any particular reason, but this one, I'll start with the adventure story part. 1 black instant adventure. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. You lose 2 life. This is a modified Hero's Downfall or like those types of cards, but it's an adventure, so it goes into exile, and I have the ability later to pay 1 black to get a 2/3 lifelink that when the Murderous Rider dies, it goes on the bottom of its owner's library. And it's back in the deck, so I could draw it again at some point and cast Swift End again. I think this is an excellent card.
Yeah, that ability of putting it on the bottom of the library, I guess, is so that you can't just like easily loop this card, maybe.
Sure, but
but that's in a lot of formats. That's an upside.
So far, the reason we haven't talked about many adventure cards is because both abilities were a little bit underwhelming, but this is exactly a competitive black removal spell that competes with all the other ones, and we have the upside of it becoming a lifelinker later on.
Yeah, like you might even think like, oh, the one that destroys an artifact for like a single red. It's like, that's good, but then the other side of it is like it's a 2/1. Just a
right, and so
2/1. Like,
so I'm losing.
Who cares?
Right, like I don't want to just be able to hit artifacts, right?
Exactly.
So I'm losing on that side, and then I don't care about the other side, right? But here we lose nothing from the adventure, except 2 life. But like, who cares?
And I mean, there is the thing of like if you can get creatures back from your graveyard to your hand after you've cast, after they go there, you know what I mean? After they die, then you can redo the adventure, like you can redo Swift End or whatever. But
yeah.
Anyways. Let's move on. Piper of the Swarm is another card here. This one, again, this is a Brawl deck exclusive, it looks like. 1 and a black for 1/3 Human Warlock. There we go. Oh, Sean, this combines 2 of your things you got on your soapbox about.
No,
it's
rats
a Human
are fine.
Warlock, and rats you control have Menace.
That's fine. Rats are been a long time thing in Magic. That's fine.
1 and a black to create a 1/1 black rat creature token, and then 2 black tap, sacrifice 3 rats, gain control of target creature. This is a bit of a play on the old Pied Piper, it seems.
Yeah.
I love this card. This is, if you're watching YouTube, you're looking at the promo art, but I actually like the original art better. It seems like creepier to me. Anyways, the 1/3 that does this, I love this ability. There's obviously a rat deck in Commander that this guy automatically goes in, but you don't necessarily need to be making, to have a rats only deck for this to be good. Anything that cares about tokens seems fine to me. And then if you can get that, gain control of target creature thing, that's sweet.
I like it.
3 rats with conspiracy. Anything's a rat then. So, heads up.
The last black card we're going to talk about is from the main set. It's 1 and a black. It's Wishclaw Talisman, 2 mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, it enters with 3 wish counters on it. So you pay 1 and tap, remove a wish counter from Wishclaw Talisman, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. Then an opponent gains control of Wishclaw Talisman. Activate this ability only during your turn. So this is a really interesting take on a tutor effect, because there was that tutor from the last set where we each drew a card we each got it at the same time. Well, now your opponents will get one, but you get one first for quite cheap. So this is a 3 mana tutor in the end, 2 to cast, 1 to use, which is the cheapest tutor they've printed in modern times. So I don't know, keep an eye out for this one. And if we can figure out ways to destroy it before our opponents get it, or to sacrifice it with that ability, well, I guess we can, that will happen. We won't be able to stop it once they get it. But, destroying artifacts, we can do that.
We can do that. I mean, bouncing an artifact is a little tougher, but it's still possible.
Yeah.
I
like it a lot.
But if you just win the game from the card you go get, none of that matters. So there's that too.
Right.
Wishclaw Talisman is exciting. I agree. And it's only like $2 or $3. Let's start off with red. Got a couple cards in red, which usually we don't see too many. But here we have Embercleave starting things off. 4 red. Legendary equipment. Has flash. It costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature you control. And whenever Cleave enters the battlefield, you attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has double strike and trample. So attack with enough people, and this is like an extra good Teamer Battle Rage.
Yeah.
But you need to be attacking with 4 creatures for that to happen. Still, that's not hard to do.
No.
I like it. It's like an instant speed, like combat trick that sticks around. Even the equip cost is only 3. That's not unreasonable, you know. And double strike and trample are really strong abilities. So
very strong.
I like this in any red deck that cares about equipment. I think it's basically an auto include.
Yeah, big green stompy decks love this too. Give something trample and double strike. Just
Definitely.
end a player out of nowhere.
Yep.
We've got also Fires of Intervention. It's 3 in a red.
Invention.
This is Invention. Oh yeah.
Intervention.
Yeah. Fires of Intervention. Listen, we all asked you here. We did.
Yeah.
We are not going to play Scrabble. We're going to talk to you.
We tricked you.
So it's 3 in a red for an enchantment. You can cast spells only during your turn, and you can cast no more than 2 spells each turn. You may cast spells with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of lands you control without paying their mana costs. I don't know how to evaluate this. This is very interesting because it basically gives us, like, you know, after we are a few lands deep, maybe we're red-green. It's like we can basically play anything for free, 2 cards per turn, but only 2 and nothing on our opponent's turns.
Yeah, this makes me want to have the first spell you cast be some huge monster or something.
Yeah.
Or big enchantment, something crazy like that. And the second spell be like an X spell, so that we're using all of our mana. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're doubly using all of our mana on our turns because we can only cast spells on our turn anyway. So there's no one's going to counter your stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you like tap out for that big X spell and then play another one for free. Play something else for free.
Yeah. Well, but you've already cast your 2 spells with that big monster. You can't do a third thing.
Sorry, no, that's what I mean. Just the 2 though. What I'm saying is like cast big X spell with your lands and then something free with whatever else you have.
Yeah, I would want ways to refuel my hand because I'm playing 2, but I would also want to brew my deck so that I have lots of big expensive things.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'd also want ramp. I don't know. This is an interesting card. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it feels like Gruul.
But also I want Is It because I want the draw.
Teamer it is.
Tamer, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's neat. I think you can build around this and make it okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next we have Iron Crag Feat. 1 red for a sorcery that says add 7 red. You can cast only 1 more spell this turn. So normally these types of spells are what are they called? Rituals. They go in storm decks because they're just a spell you cast that like gets you back your mana like +1. This one has to be your last storm spell
Before you have cast the storm card. Yeah.
the storm spell. So there's that. So it just has to be the last one, which isn't hard to do for a storm card. Storm spell, rather. Otherwise, it can like really make you ramp out hard on an early turn.
Yeah,
kind of,
I don't know.
Right? You can cast a 7-drop on turn 4, which is pretty good. So it ramps you for 1 turn. My thing is, though, like if you draw this later, it's just not going to be as good.
I think it's interesting if you have activated abilities, because this gives you lots of mana for those.
Yep.
If you want, I don't know.
A big X spell with this is decent too, right? Like, cause that's
It's
when
flashy.
You want it gives you 3 more mana than you have. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah. That seems to be how we feel about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Great. What's next?
Ooh, Opportunistic Dragon. 2 red for a dragon, 4/3 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, choose target human or artifact an opponent controls. As long as you still have this one, it's on the battlefield, and you get to gain control of that permanent, it loses all abilities and it can't attack or block. That's relevant if it's a human, but in our format, we see early mana rocks all over the place, so you drop your Opportunistic Dragon, and now you have the best mana rock on the battlefield until they deal with the dragon. But by then, you've used it to cast a few things, so I don't mind that. I think this is a very...
Wait. Enters the battlefield, Choose target human for as long as it remains on the battlefield. Gain control of that permanent, but it loses all abilities.
Lose all abilities. Oh,
So
the
if you-
artifact would lose the abilities, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
It's
That's
just-
not good.
It's just kind of take it and have it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You know?
I misread it.
Yeah.
If you got to use it, that'd be cool. But since you can't, no.
Yeah. It should like lose all but mana abilities. That would be
Well,
fun.
I was thinking flavor mode. Like if you have the Sol Ring, you'd be able to use it.
Yeah, you'd want to use it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I get if you steal a princess, she can't attack because like that's what the dragon always does.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of like a weird red form of removal
Okay.
for
Okay.
our humans or artifacts.
Yeah. Okay.
Very narrow. Okay, Robber of the Rich is a cool card. 1 in red for a human archer rogue. This is Robin Hood. He's a mythic 2/2 with reach and haste. Reach is because he's an archer.
Right.
And haste is because he's fast.
Yeah.
Whenever Robber of the Rich attacks, if defending player has more cards in their hand than you, exile the top card of your library. During any turn you attacked with a rogue, you may cast that card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. So he steals from the rich, and he gives to the poor, aka you.
As long as you're attacking with rogues.
As long as you're attacking with rogues, yeah. Yeah, and that it's a lot of stipulation to say that, yeah, stealing from the rich, giving to the poor. It seems to be a lot. There's no evasion on Robber of the Rich, which makes it, to me, seem tougher to work in Commander. It's not impossible to find a player that's available or to give it evasion, of course, but I don't know, you're working a little hard for that. I don't know. I like this ability in red is cool, so I like it for that, but like it doesn't blow my socks off or anything.
Clearly, they were like, hey, what would Robin Hood be on a card?
Yeah,
and they
exactly.
went real deep on it.
It just feels like they did that for just about everything that they did that for, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's fair. It's a very flavorful set.
Yeah, of course.
This is Ferocity of the Wilds. 2 in a red for an enchantment. Attacking non-human creatures you control get +1/+1 have trample. Trample matters when you're attacking, so this sort of says your whole team has trample. I'm always interested when cards say that. So that's why I like this.
Cool. Thrill of Possibility is 1 in a red for an instant that says, as an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards. This is just the card where Surak is going crazy. What's that card called again?
Tormenting Voice?
Tormenting Voice is the same
Except
card.
this is instant. Right? This effect has always been sorcery before. This is irrelevant because this is the first time we get this at instant speed.
I didn't even realize that there was that difference.
Yeah, strict improvement.
Okay, great. Well, there you go. Strict upgrade. There you have it.
Yes.
That's red. Let's go to green. We're coming down to the home stretch here.
Yeah, starting big. This is the Great Henge. 7 green legendary artifact. The spell costs X less, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. In green decks, I mean, you're going to have a 4/4 probably on average, so this probably costs you about 4 mana, I'm going to guess.
Sure.
Tap, add green, you gain 2 life. Cool. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card. Wow. This card is amazing.
I love it because this card, if you have like a Palaka Worm or something,
Yeah.
if you have a 7/7, or if you have something you've put some counters on or whatever it is, this card is free.
Yeah, it comes down and you pay 2 green, but it pays you that green back and gains you 2 life. And unless your opponents deal with it, you're drawing cards every time a non-token creature enters the battlefield. Green loves these effects. This one comes potentially very cheap if your deck is a typical green deck, and it's a huge mana rock. It ramps you 2. It adds 2 mana. This card is incredible.
Yeah, and like, of course, you would have had to have already cast a giant creature, which means you're probably, you're not getting this early in the game or anything, but still.
Sure.
Still worth noting, and I still really like the Great Henge for any creature decks, whether it's mono green, Simic, Teamer, whatever you want to have. I think this is going to be a very good card in those decks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, we have Once Upon a Time. So we're starting off the story here as opposed to ending it with Happily Ever After earlier. Once Upon a Time is 1 and a green for an instant. Says if this spell is the first spell you've cast this game, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. This card making a lot of noise, obviously, in some other formats because of that ability.
Yeah.
And it's look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them, put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So here's the thing. These types of cards are arguably playable in Commander. The fact that this one can be free because it's the first thing you cast, that's going to be pretty rare, right?
Like, yeah, I don't think this is a good Commander card. I wanted to include it because I think it is the most flavorful card of the set. Like, it's such a perfect, like, this is exactly what one. And then when you do this for free, you have to reveal the creature or land is like, once upon a time, there was this Palaka worm.
Yes, exactly. That's true. Yeah, I mean, I think of these cards, it's like arguably the most playable depending on what your deck's doing. But if you're looking for this type of effect, it's not bad. But generally, you want this type of effect on a creature, or if, something that finds, enchantments or something, if that's what your deck does. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't think I'm putting this in any Commander decks. I just think it's so fun.
Yeah, me neither. Okay. Ooh, this is fun.
Ooh, Return of the Wild Speaker. 4 and a green, instant. Choose one. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, or non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. Non-human is not nothing. Sometimes we sneak a couple of humans in a green deck without thinking about it. But if you do a little bit of recon and just make sure they're all elves or like different kinds of things, this is basically a instant overrun or draw a ton of cards, whatever your deck is doing at the moment. Like the fact that it's modal and its 2 modes are both cards that different types of green decks want very highly. Like an instant overrun in a token deck is incredible. And drawing cards equal to the greatest power is another thing that Green's like, yeah, gimme. I'll take it. I'll draw 5 off of
this.
There's
a 6-mana card that does something. No, that's actually creatures.
Rishkar's Expertise?
Rishkar's Expertise, yeah.
But that's a sorcery, right? This is an instant.
This is an instant, and trust me, if you're running a green deck with giant creatures, they're not humans.
Yeah, right.
Very rarely were they humans. Like,
right.
You might like Serac is one of the biggest humans, I think. Like,
yeah.
Anyways, like they're always going to be some beast or worm or something like that.
Yeah.
That second clause, I think you're like basically never going to use that, and that's fine because because if you're running the deck that they're all 7/7s and 8/8s and they're worms and beasts and all that stuff.
Sure.
The +3/+3 is probably not going to make a big difference. You're probably going to want to use it to draw cards instead. So, but I still think this card is very good and very runnable in a lot of green decks.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I'm always looking for this ability in green.
Mm-hmm.
It's also fun because Garrick's back.
Yeah.
And that shows you that he's going to be back to being mono green probably. That card. Steelbane Hydra's next. X, gotta have a Hydra. X, green. This one's a turtle Hydra. How cute.
Aww.
Didn't know that must get pretty crowded in that shell. There's like 5 heads on this thing.
Yeah. No room for more heads.
In there. All the turtles plus the Slash, the bad one, are all in there. Steelbane Hydra enters about. Okay, it's a 0/0. Enters battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it.
Classic.
2 and a green. Remove a +1/+1 counter from Steelbane Hydra. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. I love this card.
Repeatable.
I love it. 2 and a green. That's all you need to do now. On board artifact or enchantment destruction. Obviously, if you're running this in a Hydra deck, this guy's going to get really big. But even in a pinch, you can cast this for just a few counters. Just if you're going to want to hit something. So
yeah,
I like Steelbane Hydra quite a bit.
Me too. We're going to talk about Thorn Mammoth, 5 green, Elephant 6/6. This was a Brawl deck exclusive. It's an elephant with trample. Whenever this or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Thorn Mammoth fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So previously we've seen the Rage Beast, Gruul Rage Beast, that it like everything that comes in has to fight because it makes them ragey. But this one, the Thorn Mammoth, is the one that does the fighting. So like you can have little tokens come in and win fights with Thorn Mammoth. You can't win too many in a row unless you somehow give it indestructible.
Right. Yes, this is another one that was in the Brawl 1v1 arena thing, and it proved to be very, very strong. So I like Thorn Mammoth quite a bit.
Like drop a heroic intervention, give it indestructible, and then make a bunch of tokens, and then it's like, yeah, anything with 6 toughness or less is dead from the fight.
Fighting in Commander isn't always that good because obviously your opponents can sometimes have huge monsters that you just don't even want to fight. But the ability that makes this good is that it's recurable with like you said, like a token or something. So you can fight everything. You can fight something like once a turn if you want, or even more than that, like you said. So I think that makes it pretty good.
Yeah.
Next we have Kenrith's Transformation. Whoa, weird. He turned into a stag or something.
Yeah.
1 and a green for an aura. Enchants a creature. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a green elk creature with base power and toughness 3/3. So you enchant a creature only, and it will lose all the abilities to become this 3/3. So like we said earlier, taking a commander and turning it into just a 3/3 elk is pretty good.
We draw a card off it too, so
Exactly.
like that replaces itself. This is better than Frogify.
Yeah. Yes. Good call. Yep.
We also got Once and Future, 3 and a green for an instant. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Put up to one other target card from your graveyard on top of your library. Exile Once and Future, and has Adamant, which we didn't talk about, but it wants you if you spent 3 green mana at least to spend it. So Adamant leans towards more monocolored decks. You instead return them to your hand. So either 1 in your hand, 1 on top, or if it's all green, 2 to your hand. But again, I point this out because we don't often get this at instant speed, right? Like we're getting something back to our hand at instant speed in green, which is very rare. Target card, not target permanent either.
Yeah. It could be 2 things, right? With Adamant, right?
Well, and then with the fact that it's instant means even if I don't have Adamant, I'm playing it on your end step. So I'm getting 1 into my hand right now, and the 1 on top I'm going to draw next turn. So it's like kind of that.
We've seen this ability at 5 CMC before, and it's like borderline playable, like usually not, but 4 might be enough to make it something weird.
At instant though, the 5 CMC was
That's what I
certainly
mean.
sorcery. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. Exactly. The instant speed and the 1 mana reduction, I think, is going to make this card way more playable.
Cool.
Okay, let's look at some multicolored cards from the set. We're going to start off with Dance of the Mance.
Ants in your pants to France.
Dance of the Mance. Guessing that's how that's said. It's
Has to
X and it's white blue for a sorcery that says return up to X target artifact and or non-aura enchantment cards, each with converted mana cost X or less, from your graveyard to the battlefield. If X is 6 or more, those permanents are 4/4 creatures in addition to their other types. Wow. So this is like obviously I think in the picture here you're seeing like the Beauty and the Beast castle come alive. That's sort of what's happening there. So that's some very neat flavor. But the ability to return a couple of auras and enchantments, enchantments and artifacts seem pretty good. Pretty fun.
It does. I wish you had the ability not to make them creatures if you wanted, because I think I'd rather have a couple of 7 mana things stay as enchantments.
Yeah.
I want to get the big ones back. That's what I want to cast this for, like X equals 7 or more.
Yeah.
But then I don't want them to be creatures. So it's an interesting balance here.
It is. Yeah. There is a real downside once they're creatures. Yeah.
Next we've got Drown in the Lock. It's blue, black for an instant, and you choose one. Counter target spell with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. So, I mean, there are early parts of the game where you won't be able to use this, but very often this is a full counter spell. But it also says destroy target creature with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. So if you've got a little bit of mill going on, or if players are playing cards and they're going to the graveyard, this is like a modal destroy a creature or counter a spell, which we never see like that those two modes on a card. You got to work a little bit to get it to happen, but those are two very powerful modes.
You better work.
True.
Next is Stormfist Crusader. Red black menace 2/2. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card and loses a life.
I can't tell if this is good or bad.
I think it's just pretty whatever. I don't think I'm gonna ever run this card in Commander.
Each player draws a card and loses a life. Yeah, probably not. Faeburrow Elder, 1 green white for a tree folk, vigilance, 0/0 to start, but it gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control, and it taps for each color among permanents you control. Add 1 mana of that color. So if you have the Faeburrow Elder out, it taps for 2 because you have black, green and white. But in a 5-color deck, this like having anything that taps for 5 mana is very strong.
Yeah, very strong. You can untap and tap creatures. in green pretty easily, and
Yeah.
mix that with blue, and you're doing it very, very easily. So
Even
yeah,
if
I
this
like
taps
this card
for
a lot.
2 alone, like I'm happy to run this
Oh,
in.
yeah, it's Silesia.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, just tapping for 2 alone is really good. Tapping for 3 is like, that card exists, right? Like,
Yeah, there's a Naya one.
and it's kind of expensive, I think. Faber Eldar, yes, I will take it, and I will run it in all the decks that can run it. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Next is Knight's Charge.
Yes.
1 white-black for an enchantment. Whenever a knight you control attacks, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. That is a very good ability. And it has 6 white-black, so 8 in total. Sacrifice Knight's Charge. Return all knight creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's very good. Again, Knight's Tribal. We didn't talk about all the little ones that you can see in this set, but Knight's Charge especially is like, this is huge. This is notable.
Yeah. Black has Conspiracy, make all your creatures knights too, so that is a potential thing to break.
Definitely.
That one was from the Brawl decks, but this one's from the regular set. It's Outlaw's Merriment, 1 red, white. It's an enchantment. It's mythic. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose 1 at random. Create a red and white creature token with these characteristics. So it's you get either randomly, you either get a 3/1 human warrior with trample and haste, a 2/1 human cleric with lifelink and haste, or a 1/2 human rogue with haste. And when this creature enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to any target.
So
that's pretty. I mean, if you like tokens,
yeah. So you make Little John, or you make Friar Tuck, or you make Will Scarlet.
Nice. I didn't realize that. That's great.
I think that's what it is, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be the Outlaws, the merry band of outlaws. Yeah. So I think that's a very flavorful card, and like getting a free token every turn is good.
Oh yeah, very good. And some of these are these are neat. Like the lifelink and haste one seems really effective and good to me.
Like
I don't know.
Just randomly doing a point somewhere. It's like, it's not reliable, but like I was like, sure, I'll take out a utility creature. I'll do a damage to you. A 3/1 trample with haste is like, look, I got an opportunity to get through now. I'll do it. Like, it's
definitely
very
fun.
interesting. Yeah.
Next we have Thunderous Snapper. It's so there are some big hybrid spells of this set.
Yes.
Thunderous Snapper is one of them. It's the Simic one, and it's 4 hybrid Simic. For a Turtle Hydra, another Turtle Hydra. That's very fun. It's a 4/4, and it says whenever you cast a spell with converted mana cost 5 or greater, draw a card. So cast a spell, not just a creature. Usually we see this with like creature tough power and toughness and stuff. Any spell with 5 or greater, you're drawing a card. I think there's definitely going to be decks that want this. And don't forget, X spells on the stack have a CMC, so that will work if you make them 5 or greater.
Yeah. Fun. So that's
Cool.
like all the cards we want to highlight in the main set, except for Planeswalkers. We're going to highlight those now. And these Planeswalkers come in 2 varieties. There's the ones that you can get sort of special from dual decks or Planeswalker decks or whatever they're calling them these days. But then some come from the set. So this is from the set. This is the Royal Scions, 1 blue, red, legendary Planeswalker, Will Rowan. They just put both of their names on there.
Oh, yeah.
So this is Will and Rowan Kenrith put together. It's 5 loyalty to start, +1, draw a card, then discard a card. Okay, that's for 3 mana. You go up to 6 loyalty and you get a little bit of card selection. Okay. +1 alternately, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike and trample till end of turn. You need a board to take advantage of that, but both of those are pluses. The only minus is a -8. Draw 4 cards. When you do, the Royal Scions deals damage to any target equal to the number of cards in your hand. This is an ultimate that is not at all scary. The +1 does not seem like crazy advantage in either case. I mean, giving a first strike and trample is something, but it's not vigilance. So I think this is a very fair commander Planeswalker that your opponents may not feel the need to kill on sight.
Agreed. I don't think and I think as a result, you're not really going to run this in Commander that much because the payoff just isn't there.
But
it gets
I
taken
like
down
that
too easily. I mean, I know so that's potentially an upside, but like, are you going to put a card in your deck because it's not that good?
Well, but like, it's not good, right? Like it's not that good if it gets destroyed in 1 turn. But if I'm able to draw a card and discard a card a few times, I'm like, it's paid for itself. It's done pretty good.
I just feel like a looter that can just die from attacks.
Yeah. I mean, right now, sell it for standard, right? So like for sure.
Sell it. How much is it right now?
$16, $15.
Yeah, forget it. Sell it. Next is Oko, Thief of Crowns. Another 3 mana Planeswalker. They're certainly pushing these 3-mana
And a new
Planeswalkers.
character.
Yeah, totally. 4 loyalty for Oko. Has 3 abilities. +2, create a food token. +1, target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elk creature with base power and toughness 3/3. So I'm guessing it's Oko who took the crown from Kenrith and turned him into an elk.
Oh, of course.
Seems like that might be what happened there.
Yeah.
And then the -5 is exchange control of target artifact or creature you control and target creature an opponent controls with power 3 or less.
Some very fair abilities.
Yeah, very fair. And as a result, like, not super impressive with Commander.
I mean, this +1 can turn like it's like locks down all the opposing commanders.
Yeah. I was just about to say that's not till end of turn. That's permanent.
Yeah, so I mean that is like you'll need to deal with that to get your commander back.
That's decent removal, especially in these colors. Like if you're running Simic, that's as good as removal gets for Simic, basically.
Yeah.
And then you can exchange control of an artifact like that food you made, perhaps,
Sure.
or just some other creature, and grab like a utility creature from them. This one looks like it has some legs for me. I'm not losing my mind. But also you can change the food token into an elk. Just remember that.
True. You can. Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like again, this is going to be something where you're just going to sell it for standard, get that money.
So far, no
it's
game-winning ultimates. Maybe are we past the point where we are going to get game-winning ultimates on Planeswalkers anymore?
Are we post game-winning ultimate right now?
I don't know.
Well, let's see with our last Planeswalker here.
Garrick's back for black-green. Legendary Planeswalker Garrick starts with 5 loyalty. For 0, you create 2/2 black and green wolf creature tokens with, when this creature dies, put a loyalty counter on each Garrick you control. So there's no other way to gain loyalty with Garrick except for those wolves. Because the next ability is -3, destroy target creature, draw a card, classic. -6, you get an emblem with creatures you control, get +3/+3 and have trample. So that's very close. If you have a sack outlet, you can make those wolves first turn and then somehow sack them to get the counters on Garrick, maybe block and sack so that Garrick doesn't go down. And if you can get to that 6, a permanent overrun is a big game, even if you have to lose your Garrick to get it.
That's true. That's a permanent overrun. Very strong. This guy also draws you the card when he comes in. Like that's
if you need to. Yeah.
I like this Garrick. I don't think it's like I'm a sucker for Planeswalkers. I just think they're fun and cool.
Yeah.
Which like lots of us do. But so that's why I like this card. I don't like this card because if it's like it seems overpowered or anything like that. But I want to play this card. This makes me want to build a Garrick tribal deck. We built Liliana tribal once, and that was a lot of fun. This really the wolves dying and putting loyalty counters on each Garrick. Like that makes me want to have a bunch of Garricks out there.
For sure.
That seems fun. So yeah, I don't know. It seems fun.
I think it's neat too that he's the does he rescue Rowan, or I guess Will Kenrith? Rowan is Red Riding Hood. So, and
he's hunting. He's like the bad huntsman. Like it seems like he's hunting Red Riding Hood. But something good, something happens to him where he gets the curse gets lifted and he turns good. It seems.
Oh yay, good.
That's nice.
So we got a couple Planeswalkers that are only in sort of dual decks. Andy, do you want to take Rowan, the Red Riding Hood here?
Yeah, here's little red Rowan Riding Hood. Rowan, Fearless Spark Mage, 3 red for the 5-mana Rowan. Lately, these have been disappointing. At first, they started out, they were like, hey, these are kind of good for Commander, and now it's like, they're not good. So let's see how this one plays out for us. +1, up to 1 target creature gets +3/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. -2, Rowan deals 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures can't block.
Yikes.
And -9, gain control of all creatures until end of turn. Untap them, they gain haste until end of turn. So, what's that card called again?
Insurrection.
Insurrection
But it
as an
takes
ultimate
5.
is pretty sweet, but it takes a while to get there.
It takes 5 undisturbed turns to get there. You're never doing it.
It's not going to happen.
Like, why make it so hard and so bad? Like, shouldn't it? The fact that it's so hard to do make it like much better?
I guess because it's built to play with the other Planeswalker deck. Like these Planeswalkers don't die super easily in those decks. I don't think. I think there's a lot of protection built in because new players who are going to pick these up and play with them probably want to keep, my one Planeswalker you get in the deck. It shouldn't die so easily.
I can't argue that.
So I understand that. But at the same, so for us to want something out of it for Commander is like, sure, they're not going to give it to us all the time. I get it. It doesn't upset me.
It doesn't upset me either. But we get an Oko as well. Oko the Trickster for blue-green. Starts with 4 loyalty, +1. Put 2 +1/+1 encounters on up to 1 target creature you control. 0. Until end of turn, Oko the Trickster becomes a copy of target creature you control. Prevent all damage that would be able to him this turn. That's very intriguing.
That's interesting, yeah.
That's only Garrick could be a creature. I guess Sarkhan did that too. But that's a very interesting ability they're playing with. -7. Until end of turn, not Garrick, I meant Gideon. -7. Until each turn, each creature you control has base power and toughness 10/10 and gains trample. That's huge.
That's huge.
But I like that 0 the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's a 6-mana clone. But you wouldn't do it right away because it would have summoning sickness the turn you played it.
Yeah.
There's possibilities here.
Yeah.
It seems.
I think it's interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think it seems particularly broken by any stretch, but
none of these Planeswalkers seem especially broken.
For Commander, no.
Or just in general, they all seem like pretty reasonable.
You're right. You're right. They seem quite balanced. Well, there you go, though. That's everything, right? That's the whole Throne of Eldraine spoiler done.
Plus the Brawl
set
decks.
and done. Pardon?
Plus the Brawl decks, really.
Plus the Brawl decks, yeah. We didn't... Yeah, right? I mean, there's a bunch of cards from the set in the Brawl decks as well. I don't know what else they're reprinting in there. I personally haven't looked super hard at that. I just kind of looked at I played with the decks.
Yeah.
They were fun to play 1v1, and I imagine they're going to be very fun to play multiplayer as well. So I have, whether the jury's out on whether or not it's good for us as players, but I can say this, that they are fun decks to play with. So that's at least, they got that going for them.
We'll see. I mean, I secretly hope that Brawl becomes an amazing format and everybody loves it. Just for the lesson that maybe we shouldn't be so negative about everything right away. I hope Brawl becomes amazing so that people need to be a little bit more open-minded. It's a little reminder.
Yeah, so that's it. That's the whole set. Very interesting stuff in there. I think there's a lot of stuff to mess around with and have fun. But that does it. Thanks for watching here on YouTube. Go ahead, smash subscribe. It helps us out. And get in on that Patreon if you want as well. And watch Battle of the Brews. It's right here on the channel. It's a lot of fun. We'll see everyone next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCGplayer affiliate link below.
That helps us out too. And for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.